Wait.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning, ma'am. Response. Good morning, ma'am. Good morning, ma'am. Good morning, ma'am.
Good morning. Finally, let's head to begin the session. I know there has been a technical error from our end for people who are traveling from Osmania University. And at the same time, I know many people who are supposed to be here by 9:30 still did not come. It's okay. So second day of the session, we begin. Is the formal... It's started? Okay.
Started.
Alright. So, people who did not get an opportunity to speak about Telangana yesterday, do you want an opportunity to speak today?
Yes.
Only those who did not get an opportunity to speak yesterday, yes?
Yes.
You have the track of at least who spoke and who did not speak?
We will give, madam.
As a leader of opposition or deputy, I am providing who doesn't spoke yesterday. I have a list.
Prime Minister?
We are collecting. Yeah, madam, we are collecting this.
Okay, alright. So I think we can start the session. It's just 15 minutes. It's upon you to handle it. If anybody is cross-talking, mercilessly suspend them. No need to worry. Suspend them from the house.
Excuse me.
We have a list with us.
And second thing, Prime Minister, you prepared to table the bill today?
For the uniforms.
Uniforms will go? Okay. LOP, you're ready for the bill today? Yes, ma'am. Alright. So 12 o'clock, Jayaprakash Narayan ji will come. Before that, by 11:15, we'll start with the question answer. So 45 minutes of question answer will have. Go on.
What about the 0 hour?
Now it's the 0 hour.
No, what about the 9 years of Telangana 30? Now it's 10:43.
You can anyways have 0 hour again after session. We will post lunch only, no? So from lunch till late in the evening, we'll discuss on the bill. Okay. Alright. So any doubts? Because I don't want to speak in between the session, that's why I'm trying to finish all the clarifications right away. Is doubt on the everywhere? Telugulo cheppala?
Mics are not working.
Mics are not working.
Mics are not on.
Okay, I'll Any doubts?
Good morning, everybody, from whole team of leader of opposition. Good morning.
Thank you.
Dinesh sir in the room can tally
present the agenda for the first 30 minutes. Will be on the yesterday's topic, 9 years of Telangana in your vision. For the one who did not get the opportunity yesterday, please note this point. And next thing is that do not take much time because we have many participants here. So try to take 1 or 2 minutes maximum. Okay? We shall start the session. First one will be 65.
65.
All of you, good morning. Thank you, Speaker. 9 సంవత్సరాల తెలంగాణ గురించి మాట్లాడుతున్న ముందు అంతకుముందు ఎలా ఉంది, తెలంగాణ ఎలా ఉంది, ఇప్పుడు ఎలా ఉందో చిన్న 2 లైన్లు చెప్పదలుచుకున్నాను. అనతి కాలంలోనే అన్ని రంగాలలో అద్భుతమైన ప్రదర్శన సాధిస్తూ దేశానికి దిక్సూచిగా నిలిచిన తెలంగాణ రాష్ట్రం సంక్షేమంలో స్వర్ణయుగాన్ని సృష్టిస్తున్న అభివృద్ధి పదంలో అగ్రగామిగా పరుగులు తీసుకున్నది. ఇదే మన తెలంగాణ. కలిసి నడుద్దాం, కలిసి పురోగమిద్దాం. తెలంగాణ ప్రగతి ప్రస్థానంలో సంపన్న వర్గాలకు సముచిత ప్రాధాన్యం. దార్శనిక గవర్నమెంట్ ఆఫ్ తెలంగాణ నేతృత్వంలో ఏ యొక్క వర్గాన్ని విస్మరించకుండా అభివృద్ధి పదాలను ప్రతి ఒక్కరికి అందిస్తున్న రాష్ట్రం తెలంగాణ రాష్ట్రం. సమానత్వం, సమ్మిళిత తథ్యం, ఆత్మగౌరవ జీవనం అనే ప్రాథమిక విలువలే పునాదిగా తెలంగాణ పునర్నిర్మాణం జరుగుతున్నది. అవకాశాల కోసం ఎదురు చూడకుండా వాటిని సృష్టించుకొని అవరోధాలను అధిగమిస్తూ అభివృద్ధి వైపు శరవేగంతో పయనిస్తున్నాం. అందరి శ్రమతో, అందరి పురోగతితో అనే సిద్ధాంతాన్ని ఆచరణలో చూపిస్తున్నాం. ప్రజలందరూ కలిసి మరింత మెరుగైన సుసంపన్నమైన భవిష్యత్తుకై ముందుకు సాగాలి. తెలంగాణ రాష్ట్రం సుసంపన్నమైనది. తెలంగాణ ప్రజల స్వప్నం సాకారమైనది. జై తెలంగాణ, జై భారత్. థ్యాంక్ యూ వెరీ మచ్.
హలో, గుడ్ మార్నింగ్ స్పీకర్. సో నిన్న తెలంగాణ గురించి మాట్లాడుకుంటే మనం తెలంగాణలో యువత చేసామంతా చేసామని చెప్తున్నామని, ఏ ఎడ్యుకేషన్ సిస్టమ్ ఎక్కడ అయిపోతుంది, ఏ రూలింగ్ పార్టీ ఏం చేస్తుంది అనేది దాని గురించి అయితే ఎవరు మాట్లాడడం లేదు. సో ఒక గవర్నమెంట్ ఆఫీసర్, ఒక ఎంపీ అయినా సరే, ఒక ఎమ్మెల్యే అయినా సరే, గవర్నమెంట్ లో పనిచేస్తూ ప్రైవేట్ ఎక్కువ ఏంటంటే బ్రదర్ ఒకరు చెప్పారు ఏమని, సో మహిళలకు కూడా సీట్లు ఇస్తున్నాం, మహిళలకు ప్రతిపాద్యాన్ని ఇస్తున్నాం అని చెప్పేసి అన్నారు. సో ఒక కళాకారుడు చనిపోతే ఆ కళాకారుని ప్లేసెస్ లో అతను మహిళలు నిలబెట్టామని చెప్పాం. అంటే ఇప్పుడు మహిళలకు సీట్లు రావాలంటే వాళ్ళ హస్బెండ్స్ కళాకారులు చనిపోవాలని సో ఇంకోటి ఏంటంటే ఫుడ్. సో కంట్రోల్ బియ్యం అని ప్రతి ఊర్లకు డిస్ట్రిబ్యూట్ చేస్తున్నాం, ప్రతి ఒక్క ఫ్రీగా. సో కంట్రోల్ బియ్యం వల్ల ఎలాంటి యూజెస్ కూడా లేవు. అదే కంట్రోల్ బియ్యం ప్లేసెస్ లో సన్నా బియ్యం పంచి రైతులు కడుపు నింపాలని కూడా ఈ ప్రభుత్వాన్ని కోరుకుంటున్నా. అండ్ ఇంకోటి ఏంటంటే ఈ ప్రభుత్వానికి థ్యాంక్ యూ కూడా చెప్తున్నా. ఇప్పటి వరకు వాళ్ళు రైతు బంధాన్ని అండ్ ఇంకెన్నో ప్రోగ్రామ్స్ కండక్ట్ చేసి రైతులను ఆదుకున్నందుకు. అండ్ ఇంకోటి ఏంటంటే సో రోడ్లు ప్రొవైడ్ చేసేసి ఎప్పటి నుండో దీనస్థితిలో ఉన్న రోడ్లను చాలా చక్కగా తీర్చుకున్నందుకు రూలింగ్ వాళ్ళని థ్యాంక్ యూ కూడా చెప్పుకుంటున్నాను. అండ్ హెల్త్ విషయం ఏంటంటే సో 33 జిల్లాలకు 33 హాస్పిటల్స్ నిర్మించాలని చెప్పిన ఈ ప్రభుత్వము రూరల్ ఏరియాలో ఎందుకు హాస్పిటల్స్ నిర్మించలేకపోతున్నారు? కొన్ని ప్రాంతాల్లో అయితే రైతులకు పాము కాటేసిన, చీమ కాటేసిన వాటికి ఇది కూడా లేకుండా పోతుంది. సో థ్యాంక్ యూ మ్యామ్.
Actually, the schemes when you are introduced like Mission Kakatiya, Bhagirath, Kalyan Lakshmi, Shadi Mubarak, and everything were introduced and they are implemented too. And the idea I have is students are the creators and they can do anything. So we have to make the education system in such a way that they have to be innovative and create many okay, we are creating and it's moving on. The world should be in children's hand because they are the youth and they are the creators of everything. So that's it. Thank you.
Number 74.
74.
Good morning, everyone. తొలుస్తున్న పొద్దు మీద నడుస్తున్న కాలమా పోరు తెలంగాణమా వీర తెలంగాణమా అనే పాట నుంచి స్టార్ట్ అయింది 2014 లో. ఇప్పుడు ప్రెసెంట్ ఎవ్రీ మార్నింగ్ స్కూల్స్ లో, ప్రతి స్కూల్ అండ్ ఎడ్యుకేషన్ ఇన్స్టిట్యూషన్స్ లో, గవర్నమెంట్ ఇన్స్టిట్యూషన్స్ లో జయ జయ హే తెలంగాణ జననీ జయ కేతనం అనే పాట పాడుకుంటున్నామంటే మనం అర్థం చేసుకోవచ్చు. వందే మాతరం జనగణ మనతో ఈక్వల్ గా మన తెలంగాణ సాంగ్ ని ప్రతి పాఠశాలలో, ప్రతి గవర్నమెంట్ ఇన్స్టిట్యూషన్ లో, ప్రతి ప్రైవేట్ ఇన్స్టిట్యూషన్ లో మనం పాడుకుంటున్నామంటే దిస్ ఈస్ ద ఇదే మన సాధించిన తెలంగాణ. అండ్ ఇప్పుడు మనం ఈ సిటిజన్ యూత్ పార్లమెంట్ అనేది సిటిజన్ యూత్ పార్లమెంట్ ఇన్ తెలంగాణ అనేది మనం పెట్టుకున్నాం. లేకపోతే సిటిజన్ యూత్ పార్లమెంట్ ఆంధ్రప్రదేశ్ మనం పెట్టుకునేవాళ్ళం. ఇవాళ మనం అక్కడ ఉండేవాళ్ళం. ఇవాళ మనంతా ఇక్కడ పెట్టుకుని ఈ తెలంగాణ సైడ్ మనం పోటీ చేస్తున్నామంటే బికాస్ ఆఫ్ మన సాధించిన తెలంగాణ కాబట్టి. Thank you for giving this opportunity.
Number 52.
52. 52.
We will go with 45.
స్పీకర్, తెలంగాణలో చాలా డెవలప్మెంట్ వర్క్స్, మెయిన్గా మన తెలంగాణ 70% వ్యవసాయం మీద ఆధారపడి ఉంది కాబట్టి తెలంగాణ వ్యవసాయ భూమిని చాలా అభివృద్ధి చేసిందని చెప్పాలి. అగ్రికల్చర్ డెవలప్మెంట్లో 70% ఉన్న అగ్రికల్చర్ 97% ఎదిగి 2 లక్షల ఎకరాలు సాగునీటి చేస్తుంది. అదేవిధంగా ఎన్నో స్కీమ్స్ వచ్చాయి. రైతు బంధు, రైతు స్కీమ్, రైతు బీమా, చేనేతల పంపిణీ, నేతన్నలకు సహాయం, పింఛన్లు, ఆరోగ్య లక్ష్మి, డబుల్ బెడ్రూమ్స్, గృహలక్ష్మి, ఇలాంటి చాలా మిషన్ భగీరథ, మిషన్ కాకతీయ, షాదీ ముబారక్, లక్ష్మీ కళ్యాణ లక్ష్మి ద్వారా 10 లక్షలకు పైగా అమ్మాయిలను పెళ్లి చేసిన ఘనత తెలంగాణది. తెలంగాణ సంక్షేమం కోసం సోషల్ వెల్ఫేర్ డెవలప్మెంట్, ఎస్టీ రిజర్వేషన్ 10% పెరిగింది. ఎస్టీ రిజర్వేషన్ సోషల్ డెవలప్మెంట్ కోసం 50,000 కోట్ల నుంచి 5 లక్షల కోట్లు ఖర్చు పెట్టిందని తెలంగాణ తెలుస్తుంది. అదేవిధంగా తెలంగాణ ప్రోగ్రెస్ చాలా డెవలప్ అయింది. ప్రోగ్రెస్ లో కూడా అదేవిధంగా తెలంగాణలో అన్ఎంప్లాయ్మెంట్ రేట్ 4.1% ఉంది. అండ్ పావర్టీ లైన్ 11% ఉన్న పావర్టీ లైన్ 6.8కి ఎదిగింది. కాబట్టి ఎవరైతే డెవలప్మెంట్ కాలేదు అంటున్నారో వాళ్ళు కూడా డెవలప్ అయ్యే విధంగా చేస్తామని తెలంగాణ చెప్తుంది. కాబట్టి థ్యాంక్ యూ ఫర్ దిస్.
5.
I would like to begin with Urdu phrase, 2 lines. बड़ी गौर से सुन रहा था जमाना और सो गए दास्तान आते सुना था. ये नहीं कि Why don't Adilabad have a hospital like Gandhi or Apollo multi-speciality? कोई मर रहा है आदिलाबाद में तो हैदराबाद है. What a sarcastic thing. Education KG to PG free. पूरे सांसद जी यहाँ पे बैठे हैं, पार्लिमेंटेरियंस. फ्री पढ़ रहे हो भाई. KG to PG फ्री है. और जो जॉब्स है वो तो नारायण चंदिया के लिए पहले फिक्स रिजर्व. ड्यू टू LPG हम ये इतना ग्लोबलाइजेशन की वजह से अमेज़न, एप्पल सबको हैदराबाद आ रहे हैं. दैट इज द पॉइंट. फ्री KG हो गया. TSPSC जो स्टूडेंट्स गवर्नमेंट स्कूल में पढ़ रहे हैं with the merit they try to achieve ranks in TSPSC groups. UPSC तो छोड़ दो, सेंटर का हुआ. तेलंगाना 9 साल हो गया, एक बार ग्रुप 1 हुआ कैंसिल, दूसरी बार फिर उम्मीद में गए फिर कैंसिल, तीसरी बार फिर गए जाएंगे फिर कैंसिल हो सकता है. ग्रुप 4 जुलाई 1 को हो गया, रैंक आ रहा है। ओके, रैतु बंधु स्कीम, रैतु को बंधु बनाने का कोई साधन ही नहीं है मैडम, इतने फार्मर साइड कर रहे हैं। रैतु को बंधु बनाने का साधन ही नहीं है। जो अमीर कैपिटल फार्मर्स है उनको टाइम पे मिल जाता है रैतु बंधु स्कीम का पैसा जो भी है, बट जो गरीब है वो एक्सेस कर ही नहीं पाता है। कर पाता है तो एजेंट्स इतने, मैडम रिसेंटली आई वेंट टू आरटीए, 500 रुपए के लर्निंग लाइसेंस को 1500 रुपीज करप्शन लग रहा है। दिस इज गोल्डन तेलंगाना। गोल्डन तेलंगाना से याद आया, तेलंगाना तो हैदराबाद हो गया, गोल्डन ओल्ड सिटी भी तो है मैडम। फ्रॉम लास्ट 5 years 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 5 साल से फ्लड्स, 5 साल से एक्सेस फ्लड्स। बीपीएल कैटेगरी के बाद में एक नई कैटेगरी बनी है, बिलो पॉवर्टी लाइन। 5 साल तक गृहस्थी खत्म होते गई है, जिसकी गृहस्थी उजड़ गई उसको 2 BHK फ्लैट्स अलॉट हो गए। फ्लैट्स अलॉट नहीं हुए, पेपर्स अलॉट हो गए, बिकॉज इलेक्शंस आ रहे हैं। ओल्ड सेक्रेटरीट तो अच्छा ही था, उसको भी वर्ल्ड हेरिटेज साइट में दे देते, बट नाम होना था, चेंज कर दिए। सिंपल मैम, आई वांट टू कंक्लूड 9 years ऑफ तेलंगाना के 90 स्टोरीज से कभी फुर्सत में सुनाएंगे।
As the tagline of our state, Telangana, the youngest and the most happening state. Whether it may be in terms of infrastructure, education, agriculture, tourism, IT industries and welfare schemes. The GDP of Telangana is in the top 3 list in the whole India. Education, many new gurukulas have been established in Telangana to ensure education. The students who are working in my local personal experience I am sharing, they are studying in gurukula. Welfare schemes, okay, they have been implemented, but not up to that extent. So I want to speak about two topics mainly: the improper implementation of welfare schemes, and second is the unemployment rate. Welfare schemes are not reaching each and every part of Telangana because many people don't know how to apply it. And the scheme of Dalita Bandhu also didn't reach many people. So policy makers should do the ground level work so that these policies should be implemented efficiently. And second is unemployment. Okay. Unemployment, there are many people, more than lakhs of students who have graduated and still they don't have jobs. So my suggestion is that like UPSC releases academic calendar every year, this UPSC also should release the academic calendar every year so that each and every student gets benefited. Thank you very much.
Who are having chance and to scrutinize your points, complete it within 1.5 minutes. Number 63.
Thank you very much. 9 years of Telangana, Telangana తెచ్చుకున్నాం. కానీ తెలంగాణ రోడ్లు, ఎలక్ట్రిసిటీ, వాటర్ ఇవన్నీ వచ్చినాయి, దానికి చాలా హ్యాపీ. మాది యాదగిరిగుట్ట, ఎలక్ట్రిసిటీ, ఎందుకంటే స్టూడెంట్స్ అందరూ కూడా యూత్ రాజకీయాల వైపు ఆ రాజకీయాల వైపు చూడడానికి స్టూడెంట్స్ కి ఎలాంటి అవేర్నెస్ కల్పిస్తున్నారు అని నేను అడుగుతున్నాను. ఎడ్యుకేషన్ సిస్టమ్ అనేది ఖచ్చితంగా ఒక స్టూడెంట్స్ కి అవేర్నెస్ కల్పించాలి. ఇప్పుడు మా కాలేజ్ లో ఎటువంటి అవేర్నెస్ లేదు. ఒక స్టూడెంట్ కి అవేర్నెస్ లేకపోతే అప్పుడు వాడు పాలిటిక్స్ మీద వాడికి ఎట్లా ఇంట్రెస్ట్ వస్తుంది? లోకల్ లీడర్షిప్, దేర్ ఇస్ నో లోకల్ లీడర్షిప్ ఇన్ అవర్ ఏరియా. ఆ లీడర్ దగ్గరికి వెళ్ళి చెప్పాలంటే భయం, ఎందుకంటే వాళ్ళు ఏం చేస్తారు, మన ఇంటికి ఎవరు లేరు, చంపేస్తారు, అది దాన్ని. అందుకని లోకల్ లీడర్షిప్ అనేది ఇంకా బలంగా ఉండాలి. అది స్టూడెంట్స్ కి అవేర్నెస్ కల్పించే విధంగా ఎడ్యుకేషన్ సిస్టమ్ ఇంకా మనము ట్రై చేయాలి. అండ్ లెక్చరర్స్ కూడా, మై పాయింట్ ఇస్ వెరీ క్లియర్. we need to focus on more education system. ఎందుకంటే ఎడ్యుకేషన్ సిస్టమ్ కరెక్ట్గా ఉన్నప్పుడే ఎవరికైనా అవేర్నెస్ వస్తుంది. అండ్ అవేర్నెస్ మీన్స్ ఇన్ మై వే కాన్షియస్నెస్. I want to tell a shloka from Bhagavad Gita. यदा देवेतरोजना सयमानते लोको दर्दनवर्तते, which means ఒక నాయకుడు అనేవాడు లేదా కొంత పరపతి ఉన్నవాడు ఏదైనా ఒక కలిస్తే దాన్ని బేస్ చేసుకుని కొంతమంది కష్టంగా నడుస్తారు. అలాంటి నాయకుడు ఇప్పుడు అదే ఇంకా వేరే వాళ్ళని లేదా కార్యకర్తలని స్టూడెంట్స్ ని మంచి దారిలో ఎట్లా నడిపించాలని సో దానికి నాయకుడు అనేవాడు ఇంకా విలువలను పొందాలి, ఒక భావజాలంలో ఇంకా స్టూడెంట్స్ ఒక దారి కల్పించాలని నేను కోరుకుంటున్నాను. థ్యాంక్ యూ.
ఎవ్రీ క్లాక్ కి 5000 వస్తుంది, కానీ ఆ 5000 ఇంకోటి రైస్ లో రాసేటప్పుడు చాలా ఇబ్బంది పడుతుంది. వైకుంఠధామం క్రీడా ప్రాంగణాలు అని చెప్పి కట్టిస్తారు, కానీ ఆ వైకుంఠధామం క్రీడా ప్రాంగణాలు రెండు పక్కనే కడతారు. వైకుంఠధామం అంటే చనిపోయిన వాళ్ళు కార్యక్రమం చేయడానికి వాడతారు. ఆడ పక్కనే క్రీడా ప్రాంగణం ఉంటే ఎవరు ఆడడానికి రాదు. అట్లా కట్టించిన పైసలు వేస్ట్. హైదరాబాద్ డ్రైనేజ్ సిస్టమ్ జిహెచ్ఎంసీ అట్లే తెలంగాణ గవర్నమెంట్ హైదరాబాద్ డ్రైనేజ్ సిస్టమ్ పైన ఏం చేసింది? వానలు పడితే రోడ్డు ఖరాబ్ అవుతుంది, ట్రాఫిక్ జామ్ అవుతుంది. ఆ లీకేజ్ వల్ల డెంగ్యూ మలేరియా వచ్చి చాలా మంది చనిపోతారు. అట్లే ఎంటర్ప్రైజెస్, తెలంగాణలో వచ్చే ఎంటర్ప్రైజెస్ స్టార్ట్అప్స్ లో 90% ఫెయిల్ అయిపోతున్నాయి. ఫస్ట్ ఎంటర్ప్రైజెస్ స్టార్ట్ అయినప్పుడు స్టార్ట్అప్స్ వచ్చిన జాబ్స్ అన్ని నెక్స్ట్ 2 years లోనే మొత్తం పోతున్నాయి. అలాగే ట్యాంక్ బండ్ ఇష్యూ, ట్యాంక్ బండ్ గురించి గవర్నమెంట్ ఎలాంటి సెక్రటరియట్ పక్కనే ఉన్నా కానీ ట్యాంక్ బండ్ క్లీనింగ్ గురించి ఏం తీసుకోలేదు. అలాగే మూసీ ఈజ్ అ పొల్యూటెడ్ రివర్, దాని గురించి ఏం చేస్తామని అడగాను. థ్యాంక్
యూ. Good morning, everyone. I am Akshita. When it comes to my observation of 9 years of Telangana, I would like to speak on the development in economy, electricity and empowerment. When it comes to the economy, the GDP growth has been increased from 6.8% in the year 14 and 15 to 11.2% in the year 2021 to 2022. In the 8 years of Telangana, it has doubled the GSDP from 5.1 lakh to 11.6 lakh crore. And when it comes to the electricity, we experience shortage of 2,700 megawatts and load of EV for 4 to 8 hours at the time of formation. But now, 24/7 supply of free power to 25.42 lakh consumers and uninterrupted supply to both industrial and service sectors. Now 39,200 crore of subsidies to agriculture sector for the free power supply. Telangana consumes the highest percentage of 41.25% of electricity for the agriculture. When it comes to the empowerment, it has been increased the number of districts from 10 districts to 70 districts, which has brought the seeds of power near to the public, and it has helped in economic growth. I lastly conclude with a quote: "We cannot always build future for the youth, but we can build our youth for the future." Thank you.
Number 87.
Some said the fight for Telangana was unwinnable. Some said Telangana would drown in darkness if it was realized. Some said Telangana will host extremists and become hive of extremist activity. Some said there will be barriers across the bridges if Telangana was realized. but breaking all those words of barriers, Telangana rises as a phoenix from power cuts to power surplus, from suicides to self-sufficient, from deprivation to development. Telangana has witnessed progress in every sector and has a sack of awards at her back. But there are yet issues to be resolved. For example, Raitu Bandhu scheme, which has been given to the farmers but not the tenant farmers. I would like to propose to introduce this system to give the incentive to the tenant farmers on the similar lines with the Kalia scheme in the Odisha government. And I would like to say that I would like to remind the House that Telangana was formed on the lines of Nilu, Nidalu, Niyamakalu, and Niyamakalu fulfilling the Niyamakalu was utterly failed by this government, and TSPSC committee should be reconstituted. Thank you, ma'am.
I will start my speech with the condolences. On September 28th, our father of Green Revolution was taken in hospital. So I want to make condolences to him. May his soul rest in peace. And ఈరోజు మనం తెలంగాణ తెచ్చుకుంది మన ఉస్మానియా యూనివర్సిటీ విద్యార్థులు. ఇక్కడ కూడా ఉస్మానియా యూనివర్సిటీ విద్యార్థులు చాలా మంది ఉన్నారు. సో నేషనల్ ఇన్స్టిట్యూట్ ఫర్ ర్యాంకింగ్ ఫ్రేమ్వర్క్ అని ఒక నేషనల్ సంస్థ సర్వే రిలీజ్ చేస్తుంది. 2012లో అంటే తెలంగాణ రాకముందు ఉస్మానియా యూనివర్సిటీ ర్యాంక్ 6వ. టాప్ 10 యూనివర్సిటీలో ఉస్మానియా యూనివర్సిటీ ర్యాంక్ 6వ తెలంగాణ రాకముందు. అదే తెలంగాణ వచ్చిన తర్వాత 2016లో ఉస్మానియా యూనివర్సిటీ ర్యాంక్ 33 పడిపోయింది. అదే తర్వాత 2020లో ఉస్మానియా యూనివర్సిటీ ర్యాంక్ 53. మీరు చూడండి, చూడండి. దాని తర్వాత 2023 ఈ సంవత్సరం రిలీజ్ చేసిన ర్యాంక్స్ లో ఉస్మానియా యూనివర్సిటీ ర్యాంక్ 64. ఇలా తెలంగాణ ఉస్మానియా యూనివర్సిటీ స్టూడెంట్స్ కి న్యాయం జరిగిందా? మీరే చెప్పండి, ఎక్కడ న్యాయం జరిగింది తెలంగాణ ఉస్మానియా యూనివర్సిటీ స్టూడెంట్స్? అండ్ ఫీజులు 5,400 నుంచి దాని తర్వాత 4,500 నుంచి LLM ఫీజు 2 ఇయర్స్ మాత్రమే 4,500 నుంచి 20,100 చేశారు. అది ఇదంతా 3 రోజుల్లో పే చేయాలని చెప్పారు. ఇదంతా కరెక్టా కాదా? ఉస్మానియా యూనివర్సిటీ విద్యార్థులు మీరే చెప్పాలి. దాని తర్వాత 750 కోట్లు 800 కోట్లు ఖర్చు అయితే 600 కోట్లు మాత్రమే నిధులు కేటాయిస్తున్నారు. తెలంగాణ ప్రభుత్వం వచ్చిన తర్వాత 12% ఎడ్యుకేషన్ కేటాయిస్తారు అసలు నార్మల్ గా.
నేను ఒకటే గుర్తు చేయదలుచుకున్నా, రైతు బంధు వల్ల ఏ రైతులకు ఉపయోగం పడతా ఉంది, ఏ రైతులు బాగుపడతా ఉన్నారు, రైతు బంధు వల్ల చిన్న సన్నకారు రైతులు బాగుపడుతున్నారా అని నేను అడుగుతా ఉన్నాను అధ్యక్ష. సందర్భంగా మరో ముఖ్యమైన విషయం, రైతు బీమా రావాలంటే రైతు చనిపోవాలి. కానీ పంట బీమా ఎందుకు ఇస్తలేరని ఈ సందర్భంగా గుర్తు చేస్తా ఉన్నాను అధ్యక్ష. రైతులు చనిపోయినాక వచ్చే రైతు బీమా వల్ల ఎవరికి లాభం? రైతు ఉన్నప్పుడు పంటకి చాలా కష్టపడి పంట పండిస్తే పంట నాశనం అయితే రైతు బీమా వస్తలేదు అని సందర్భంగా అడుగుతున్నాను అధ్యక్ష. థ్యాంక్ యూ అధ్యక్ష.
Respected Speaker, many of my colleagues, many of co-members are waiting for their turn. There is at least, we are in the majority to talk on the issue. Please consider us.
I understand. So I request all other speakers to complete your talk in a minute, please. Number 48.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Good morning to everyone. I just want to start with the song. Reilare, reilare, neellallo nippalle, vachindi nijamalle, padi lechi niliche ranamulo, na telangana, lechi nilichi geliche ranamulo. Potana puttina bhumi, idi komuram veepuna pudami, సిరులు పన్నె మాగాని. Thank you, Madam Speaker. And I every scheme of Telangana government, and I just want to conclude and I want to say that a politician thinks about next election and a statesman thinks about the next generation. So we should be like the statesman and we have to think like a statesman like Nehru and Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel, and we should promote our generations to remove this darkness, and I really appreciate the Telangana development, and we have seen many more schemes, and Telangana is an inspiration for many schemes. Actually, Telangana started and Telangana launched many schemes like breakfast scheme, Raitu Bandhu scheme, and they took as inspirational as national level, and national government also implemented these type of schemes. And I just want to conclude on two major topics by the speaker. Actually, implementation దగ్గర చాలా ప్రాబ్లం ఉంది. గవర్నమెంట్ స్కీమ్స్ వాళ్ళు ఎంత ఫండ్ రిలీజ్ చేసినా కూడా మధ్యలో ఉన్న ఇంటర్మీడియట్స్ వల్ల ప్రజలకు అందట్లేదు. దానివల్ల నెగిటివిటీ వస్తుంది ప్రజల్లో అనేది నా ఒపీనియన్ అధ్యక్ష. అండ్ వన్ మోర్ థింగ్, మన తెలంగాణలో ఇన్ఫ్రాస్ట్రక్చర్ హైదరాబాద్ లో తప్ప రూరల్ డెవలప్మెంట్ లో లేదు. నల్గొండ, సిరిసిల్ల, ఆదిలాబాద్, నిజామాబాద్, ఖమ్మం ఇంకా చాలా జిల్లాలు ఉన్నాయి. యాక్చువల్ గా డిస్ట్రిక్ట్స్ చేశారు అంటే అధ్యక్ష, డిస్ట్రిక్ట్స్ చేశారు అంటే అధ్యక్ష, 10 డిస్ట్రిక్ట్స్ నుంచి 33 డిస్ట్రిక్ట్ చేసిన తర్వాత ఇన్ఫ్రాస్ట్రక్చర్ లేదు అధ్యక్ష. ఒక మున్సిపాలిటీకి ఇన్ఫ్రాస్ట్రక్చర్ లేదు. మున్సిపాలిటీస్ చేశారు, డిస్ట్రిక్ట్స్ చేశారు, బట్ ఈ కలెక్టర్స్ అలాట్ చేయలేదు, బ్యూరోక్రట్స్ అలాట్ చేయలేదు. ఇలా అలాట్ చేయనప్పుడు ఉన్న జిల్లాలో బ్యూరోక్రసీ తోటే వేరే జిల్లా నడిపించడం వల్ల బ్యూరోక్రసీకి ఎక్కువ లోడ్ పడుతుంది అని నా ఒపీనియన్ అధ్యక్ష. బ్యూరోక్రసీకి లోడ్ ఎక్కువ పడుతుందని నా ఒపీనియన్. దానివల్ల స్కీమ్స్ ఇంప్లిమెంట్ అవ్వడం కొంచెం కష్టంగా ఉంటుంది. ఎందుకంటే హెవీ పాపులేషన్ ని తక్కువ పీపుల్ కోఆర్డినేట్ చేయాలంటే ఇట్ విల్ టేక్ అ లాట్ ఆఫ్ టైం. అండ్ థ్యాంక్ యూ.
Respected Speaker, I am getting a complaint. Vimla Garu spoke it. We are ready to speak at least 30 seconds, but provide us the opportunity. Many of my colleagues are waiting for the turn. It's always in the ruling party.
అధ్యక్ష నమస్కారం. తెలంగాణ ఏర్పడింది, ఓకే, భాషా ప్రయుక్త రాష్ట్రంగా మొదట ఆంధ్రప్రదేశ్ ఏర్పడింది. ఆంధ్రప్రదేశ్ నుంచి మా తెలంగాణ కావాలని చెప్పేసి మా నీళ్లు, మా నిధులు, మా నియామకాలు కావాలని చెప్పేసి కొట్లాడి 60 సంవత్సరాలు కొట్లాడిన తర్వాత మా తెలంగాణ వచ్చింది. కానీ మా నిధులు వచ్చే, నియామకాలు వచ్చాయి. చూడండి, గ్రూప్ 4 ఎగ్జామ్ పెట్టారు. గ్రూప్ 4 ఎగ్జామ్ పెడితే 9 సంవత్సరాల తర్వాత ఒక గ్రూప్ ఎంప్లాయ్ అంటే ఒక గ్రూప్ 4 ఎంప్లాయ్ ఒక డిఎస్పీ రెడీ చేసుకునే అంటే తెలంగాణ సాధించాలి. ఏ దేశం తెలంగాణ వచ్చింది, బట్ కానీ ఎక్కడ ఎందుకు మనం ఇవాళ 2010లో తెలంగాణ వచ్చినప్పుడు కొడాలి కమిషన్ చెప్పింది 2 లక్షల ఉద్యోగాలు రాయకుండా అని చెప్పేసి. ఇవాళ ఒక టీచర్ జాబ్ రాలేదు తెలంగాణ, సిగ్గుపడాలని ఇవాళ ప్రభుత్వాన్ని ప్రశ్నిస్తున్నాను. ఎందుకంటే ఒక టీచర్ జాబ్ చెప్తే మనం ఒక డిఎస్ ఉమ్మడి ఆఫర్ 10 డిఎస్ చేసాం, 10,000 టీచర్లు రెడీ చేసాం. మనం ఒక్క టీచర్ కూడా రెడీ చేయలేకపోయినాం. అంటే తెలంగాణ ఎవరికి తెలంగాణ చూడండి, ఇక్కడ నిధులు మార్కెటింగ్ వస్తుంటే కూడా రోడ్డు పైన ఒక ఇద్దరు బండి మీద నడుచుకుంటున్నారు. ఏమైందంటే రోడ్డు బాగా చూస్తున్నారు. అంటే ఎక్కడ పోయి నీళ్ళు ఎక్కడ పోయి నిధులు ఎక్కడ పోయి నీళ్ళు ఇక చూడండి. తర్వాత రైతు బంధు ఇస్తున్నారు, ఓకే మంచిగుంది. రైతు పంట వేసుకున్నారు, రైతు బంధు ఇస్తున్నారు. పంట పంట నష్టం వస్తే మద్దతు జరిగింది. రైతు సరిపోతుంది, రైతు ఏమో ఇస్తారంటే ఇవాళ చెప్తున్నారు. ఒక ప్రతిపాదన చెప్తున్నారు, ఇలా 5 లక్షల మందికి రైతు బీమా ఇచ్చాము అంటున్నాడు. అంటే ఎప్పుడు సార్ బీమా సరిపోయేదాన్ని ఇస్తారు. అంటే ఒక రైతు పంట వేసుకోవడానికి పంట ప్రొవైడ్ చేసేది చనిపోయిన తర్వాత బీమా ఇస్తున్నారు. అంటే రైతు చనిపోవాలని ఉద్దేశం. ఇంకొకటి ఇవాళ డబుల్ బెడ్రూమ్ ఇస్తా ఉన్నారు, డబుల్ బెడ్రూమ్ ఇవ్వలేదు అని ఇవ్వకుండా వైకుంఠ ధామాలు కడుతున్నారు. వైకుంఠ ధామాలు చనిపోయిన తర్వాత డబుల్ బెడ్రూమ్ కావాలి కదా.
42 cross over.
నా తెలంగాణ కోటి రత్నాల మీద కానీ ఇవాళ నా తెలంగాణ లక్షణ కన్నిటి ద్వారా ఎందుకంటే అందరూ ప్రతి ఒక్కరు రైతు కానిచ్చి పౌరుడు ఇవ్వలేదు రైతు అందరికీ ఒక్కొక్కరికి 10 ఎకరాలు 50 ఎకరాలకు వస్తుంది ఒక మధ్యవర్గానికి 30 ఎకరాలు 300 ఎకరాలు ఉంటే 10 కోట్ల రూపాయలు వస్తుంది నీరు చేస్తే పౌరుడు చేసుకుంటే 5 వేలు రావట్లేదు అధ్యక్ష ఇది ఖచ్చితంగా అధ్యక్ష ఇది నా సమస్య కాదు ప్రతి ఒక్కరికి ఇంకొకటి ఇవాళ తెలంగాణ రాష్ట్ర బడ్జెట్ అధ్యక్ష 2 లక్షల కోట్ల అధ్యక్ష 2 లక్షల కోట్ల అధ్యక్ష మన బడ్జెట్ ని 3 కోట్ల ఖర్చు పెట్టి ఎంత అధ్యక్ష కనీసం once again that this is a neutral point we are discussing on. There is no ruling in the opposition here, so I request Deputy Garu please not make it into a ruling in opposition.
We agree, but in the opposition we have a Telangana movement supporters. That was emotional. We respect their emotions.
What I said was when he saying somebody is objecting, it's not ruling party that is objecting, it's the individual that is objecting. So you can ask the individual to object.
This is again a failure of leadership. If someone from their team is objecting, it means their responsibility.
Sir, ma'am, I just want to object because see, this is not a debate that is happening. You cannot say that.
We are running out of time. Kindly stick to the time.
Good morning, everyone. Kindly have your attention here, please. Thank you, ma'am, for giving this opportunity to me. We all know that Telangana is a state, the Indian state that has been formed with all the hurdles and with the motto that has been formed. But today we can see that there is huge development that has been happened in Telangana. People are talking globally about the development that has happened in Telangana, and it is being even the role model. But at the same time, there is even the dark side in reality where we can see there is some apprehension from the citizens' voice, and even there the voice must be heard. And we see that there is some failure in the accountability and the implementation. But if there is no transparency in handling over these schemes and implementation of them, then you may not get the chance to win the support from the people. If you fail in ensuring their rights and giving them the development that they want for, so there is no point in talking about the developments for years long. So one should be more accountable when you are holding such positions. So and I feel that more accountability should be taken place in Telangana for getting into more development hereafter. Thanks.
Number 11. Number 10.
నమస్కారం. మనం తెలంగాణ కష్టపడి సాధించుకున్న తెలంగాణలో రైతు బంధులు అన్ని రకాల స్కీములు పెట్టాము, దానికి చాలా సంతోషిస్తున్నాము. కానీ ఈ రోజు మన వ్యవస్థ ఎక్కడుంది? నియామకాలు అంటే ఓన్లీ పోలీస్ నియామకాలు అంటే జడ్జి స్కూల్ ఉన్నాయి, గవర్నమెంట్ స్కూల్ చాలా ఉన్నాయి. ఏ స్కూల్లో స్టాఫ్ లేక పాత పాటలు కొత్త ఎందుకు పాత పాట బాగాలేదా? ఎంత మంది ఒకప్పుడు జడ్జి స్కూల్ చదువుకునే వ్యక్తులకి అందరూ ఆ జడ్జి స్కూల్లో అన్ని మూతపడిపోతున్నాయి. ఈ రోజు కారకులు ఎవరు? దాని పోతున్నాం. అందరూ అంటున్నారు ప్రారంభించాము, కేజీ2 పీజీ ఉచితంగా. ఎంతమంది ఉచితంగా చేసింది? ఒకప్పుడు గవర్నమెంట్ స్కాలర్షిప్ వచ్చేది. ఒకప్పుడు ఇంజనీరింగ్ చదవాలంటే కష్టపడే విద్యార్థి గత ప్రభుత్వంలో ఇప్పుడు ఫీజులు ఎంత లక్షల ఫీజులో ఉన్నాం. మనం ప్రైవేట్ యూనివర్సిటీలకు పర్మిషన్ ఇస్తున్నాం, గవర్నమెంట్ యూనివర్సిటీ తగ్గిస్తున్నాం. ఎందుకు చేస్తున్నాం అనేది ఒకసారి ఆలోచించాల్సిన అవసరం ఉంది. మనం అన్నింటిలో అభివృద్ధి చెందాం. దానితో పాటు అవినీతిలో కూడా ముందు ఉన్నది అంటే మన తెలంగాణ. చాలా గమనించుకొని చెప్పాలా, అర్థం కావట్లేదు. ఎందుకంటే అధ్యక్ష ఒక చిన్న పాటతో నేను దీన్ని కంక్లూడ్ చేస్తాను. పురుడుకొస్తే లంచం, బొడ్డుకొస్తే లంచం, అమ్మ పాల కన్నా ముందే పరిచయం లంచం, పాప ముద్దిస్తే చాక్లెట్లు లంచం, పిల్లాడు పాస్ అయితే సైకిల్ లంచం. అలా మనం ఇక్కడ పోతున్నాం అధ్యక్ష అంటే మనం చూడాలకే రైతు బంధు, దళిత బంధు అన్ని బంధులు ఇస్తున్నాం. ఆ బంధువులకి ఇస్తున్నామయ్యా అంటే కార్పొరేట్ వ్యక్తినే బంధులు, వేరే వాళ్ళకి బంధువుల లంచం. ఇది స్వయాన మన అధ్యక్షుడు గారే అన్నారు. కానీ దాని మీద మనం ఎందుకు ఒక చట్టం తీసుకురాలేకపోతున్నాం? ఈ రోజు ఆలోచించాల్సిన విషయం ఉంది. ప్రతి బంధులు పెట్టుకున్నాం, చాలా బాగుంది. కానీ అక్కడ ఎందుకు మనం ఆ బంధు సరైన విధంగా మధ్యతరగతి వాళ్ళు ఇవ్వలేకపోతున్నాం అనే విషయం బంధువులు కాదు, బతుకులు మార్చాలి. ఆ బంధువు ఈ బంధువులు కాదు, బతుకులు మార్చాలి. 10 మందికి ఎంప్లాయ్మెంట్ ఇచ్చే స్టేజ్లో ఉండాలి. అటువంటి చట్టాలు రావాలి. ఆ వాళ్ళ మీద వీళ్ళ మీద ఆధారపడే బతుకులు వద్దు. ఇక్కడైనా మారుదాం. జై తెలంగాణ.
Number 73.
1 minute, please. 1 minute. So tea and biscuits are served outside. It's not a break. Individually, anybody wants to have can go and come back. Don't go in the group. We are very clear.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Good morning, everyone. చెప్పాలనుకుంది ఏంటంటే ఎవరి పాయింట్ రేజ్ చేయలేరు. ఐఎమ్ స్టూడెంట్ ఫ్రమ్ సోషల్ వెల్ఫేర్ డిగ్రీ కాలేజ్. తెలంగాణ ఎడ్యుకేషన్ సిస్టమ్ లో చాలా ఫ్రీ సర్వీసెస్ ఇస్తుంది, కేజీ టు పీజీ అని ఇస్తుంది, కానీ ఒక్క డిగ్రీ కాలేజ్ ఓన్ బిల్డింగ్ లేదు. ఎడ్యుకేషన్ ఉంది, ఒక్కటి కూడా డిగ్రీ కాలేజ్ ఓన్ బిల్డింగ్ లేదు, ప్రతిదీ రెంట్వే. మరి దానికి ఎంత ఖర్చు అవుతుంది? అదేదో బిల్డింగ్ కట్టిస్తే అయిపోతుంది కదా, మనీ సేవ్ అవుతుంది కదా. నాకు ఒక ఫ్రెండ్ ఉంది, వాళ్ళు 4 అక్క చెల్లెళ్ళు, వాళ్ళకి ఓన్ ల్యాండ్ లేదు, వాళ్ళ మదర్ అండ్ ఫాదర్ ఇద్దరు కూలి పనికి వెళ్ళే వాళ్ళే. మరి వాళ్ళ ఫ్యామిలీ ఎట్లా నడుస్తుంది? వాళ్ళ దాంట్లో బాయ్ చైల్డ్ కూడా లేదు. మరి ఏదైనా అబ్బాయి అంటే ఇంట్లో పని చేస్తారంటే లేదు. వాళ్ళు నలుగురు చదువుకున్న వాళ్ళే ఉన్నారు. మరి ఇల్లు అంతా ఎట్లా నడుస్తుంది? వాళ్ళు ఇల్లు నడవాలి, వాళ్ళ కౌలు పనికి వెళ్ళాలి. హౌ ఇస్ ఇట్ పాసిబుల్? ఇంకొక ఫ్రెండ్ కి తనకి ఫాదర్ లేడు, తనకు ఒక తమ్ముడు, అతను ఇప్పుడు 10th క్లాస్. అటు చదువుకుంటాడు, పార్ట్ టైం జాబ్ చేస్తాడు. వాళ్ళ మమ్మీ టైలరింగ్ చేస్తుంది, మళ్ళీ కూలి పనికి వెళ్తుంది. కౌలు ఇట్లా కూలి పనికి వెళ్ళే వాళ్ళకు కూడా సేవింగ్ హ్యాండ్ లాగా ఉండాలి అని జస్ట్ ఐ వాంట్ టు సే దట్. సో థ్యాంక్ యూ.
Number 63.
Number 63. They went out of perspective, man. Hello. This time versus next number. 59.
Good morning, Madam Speaker. With your kind permission, I would like to address this House about the 9 years of Telangana. What Telangana has achieved, what are the problems, what are the challenges that we have, so that we could build a better Telangana, golden Telangana. If we just target the opposition or the ruling party or any other member, we are not going to make this Telangana a golden Telangana. As I come from North India, I know what is happening there. What is the condition of North India? Then I come to the Telangana, why Telangana developed, and what are the achievements of Telangana. So I have 3 parameters to decide that Telangana has achieved so much, and still there is a lot more to get things done. The first one is economy. Second one, electricity. Third one, empowerment. When we got Telangana 2nd June 2014, we got a state with a lack of electricity. We got a state which has a very pathetic economic condition. We got a state with less infrastructure, less IT export, less per capita income. But Madam Speaker, with your kind information, I would like to draw your attention. The GSDP in 2014 was 5.11 lakh crore, and now in 2021 and 22, it's 11.6 lakh crore. Do you think it's not development? Of course it is. Per capita income, earlier it was 1,24,104. Now it is 2,78,833. So the per capita income of the individual has increased. GST, earlier it was 16.3%, but now it is 18.3%. Madam Speaker, when we talk about electricity, we had a lack of electricity. Earlier we had 9,470 megawatts, which we used to produce in 2014. Now in the year of 2021 and 22, we produce 17,218 megawatts. And the electricity consumption is the highest in Telangana, which we use for agriculture. And when it comes to empowerment, which we talk about, and the Hyderabad of Telangana is known across the world, the IT export, earlier it was 66,726 crore for IT export, now it is 1.5 lakh crore. Kalyana Lakshmi and Shadi Mubarak scheme, which gives a compensation of 51,000 for the poor women to get married. TSI pass. Now I would like to conclude by saying TSI pass, which gives a clearance within 30 days, and TSI pass 18,761 proposals have been given by entrepreneurs, which draws 2,26,806 crore as investment. And the district of Sangareddy and Rangareddy in the last 9 years has acquired an investment of 16,000 crore. So these are the investment, these are the development, these are the good things which we are experiencing in Telangana. So as a state, we should be an ideal state and make this Telangana golden Telangana. That's what I think.
21.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Very good morning to everyone. ఇక్కడ కొంతమంది మాట్లాడారు ఆదిలాబాద్ లో హాస్పిటల్స్ లేవు అని. రీసెంట్ గా ఒక 1 year బ్యాక్ మల్టీ సూపర్ స్పెషాలిటీ హాస్పిటల్ అనేది జరిగింది విత్ ఫుల్ ఎక్విప్మెంట్. అక్కడ మొత్తం ఎక్విప్మెంట్ ఉంది, అక్కడ ఆపరేషన్స్ జరుగుతున్నాయి, అది రన్ అవుతుంది. ప్రతి దానికి గవర్నమెంట్ హాస్పిటల్ ఉంది అని ఆదిలాబాద్ పబ్లిక్ అంతా నమ్మి అక్కడికి వెళ్తున్నారు. అక్కడ ఒక ఐటీ కంపెనీ కూడా స్టార్ట్ అయింది, ఎంప్లాయ్మెంట్ క్రియేట్ అయింది, రోడ్స్ వేశారు, కన్స్ట్రక్షన్ చేస్తున్నారు. అది ఎప్పటికీ జరుగుతూనే ఉంటుంది. ఇట్స్ నాట్ ఎ బ్యాక్వర్డ్, అది ఫ్రంట్ వస్తుంది, అది వస్తూనే ఉంటుంది. అండ్ ఎడ్యుకేషన్ పరంగా చూసుకుంటే కూడా ఆదిలాబాద్ లో ఉన్న ప్రతి స్టూడెంట్ కూడా గవర్నమెంట్ స్కూల్స్ అండ్ కాలేజెస్ ని ప్రిఫర్ చేస్తారు. బికాస్ అక్కడ ఉన్న సబ్జెక్ట్ అటువంటిది. నేను ఐఎమ్ ఆల్సో స్టూడెంట్స్ ఆఫ్ మోడల్ స్కూల్. నేను మోడల్ స్కూల్లో చదువుకున్నాను. బుక్స్ తో సహా ప్రతిదీ మోడల్ స్కూల్లో ఫ్రీ డిస్ట్రిబ్యూషన్ అనేది ఉంటుంది. ఎడ్యుకేషన్ కి ఎంత సపోర్ట్ చేస్తుంది తెలంగాణ. అండ్ చాలా నెగిటివ్ పాయింట్స్ కూడా ఉంటవి. కొన్ని ప్లేసెస్ లో అక్కడక్కడ బ్రిడ్జెస్ కానీ అటువంటివి జరగవు. సమ్ పాయింట్ కి తీసుకువెళ్ళి అవి రెక్టిఫై చేసి ప్రతిదీ క్లారిఫై చేయాలి అని కోరుతున్నాను. థ్యాంక్ యూ మ్యామ్.
Number 9090.
Good morning to Honorable Lord Sabha. Today I am here. Everyone is telling that Telangana developed. Yeah, it is developed. Schemes are implemented. Schemes వచ్చాయి, అన్ని వచ్చాయి. బట్ ఎవరికైనా థాట్ వచ్చిందా? ఇన్ని స్కీమ్స్ తెచ్చారు, ఇన్ని అన్ని తెచ్చారు, కానీ ఉమెన్ సేఫ్టీ కోసం ఒక్క స్కీమ్ అయినా ఇంప్లిమెంట్ చేశారా? Cheating, only cheating with the central. Only one cheating. How many of women know how to fight?
will be starting 0 or not. But before that, I request Madam Speaker to kindly permit my Minister of Agriculture for a request to pass a resolution on the recent development that have happened in the field of agriculture.
Madam Speaker, Honorable Prime Minister, for giving such opportunity. I once again remind us that agriculture is the backbone of our country, and I would like to quote in the words of Thiruvalluvar. No matter how far the technology grows, and no matter how far the technology grows, the earth revolves. Agriculture is always stand far ahead of us. I reaffirm the words of Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel that India's past is agriculture, India's present is agriculture, and India's future will be the agriculture. And also, I would remind us that our culture is also agriculture. Such agriculture has been shattered under the colonial rule, which can be witnessed in the Bengal famine in the 1943. And once again, I would like to remind us that agriculture is backbone of our country. That the M.S. Swaminathan, who is known as father of Green Revolution, who has passed away recently. So I would like to pay the homage on behalf of our government and Minister of Agriculture. And I would like to propose a resolution to be passed that we have to unanimously pass this resolution that we have to confer him a Bharat Ratna award, that is the highest civilian award. And also I would like to initiate the award on behalf of my government, that MSS award in the field of excellency in agriculture. We would like to confer the award to all the persons who will prove their excellence in the field of agriculture. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you, Minister for Agriculture, for raising this important point. I would like to put it on record. We will discuss the cabinet, and along with all my fellow MPs, there is no doubt that M.S. Swaminathan ji was one of the forefathers of agriculture in India. From a relatively agriculture-intensive state, we have come a long way. That is all thanks to the Green Revolution that took place even before we were born. So it is definitely a noble approach, and I will win the vote and will definitely pass a resolution. Thank you. With this, I would like to start the zero hour. Madam, our country, India, is moving ahead at a very fast pace. But there are a few problems. Not the bad, but there are a few problems that have continuously plagued us for a very long time. And one of which is the problem of pollution. I mean, we are one of the most polluted countries in the world. What I would like to put on record is there have been many studies which says that every Indian who is staying in India is losing about 5 years of his life because of the pollution that is occurring in our cities. If you look at the top 10 cities that are polluted in the world, we feature in almost 4 or 5. And there have been instances when cities like Kanpur, which are a hub of industries in India, have featured on the number 1 list. So today I would like to propose a bill, the name of which would be Minimum Occupancy Motor Vehicle Bill. So in this bill, this is an idea which has been in my mind since my college days. Mostly we see that there are a lot of traffic jams, and many a times it is because of four-wheelers, private four-wheelers, which have occupied most of the roads. And if you peep inside the cars, you see that mostly it is only the driver who is driving the car to various locations. Now, affording a car today in India is not a big deal. We have come a long way. There are a lot of bank loans available. But the point that I would like to make is, I want the number of cars on the road to decrease. Something similar was happened in Delhi a few years back when the even-odd formula was put. I'm sure most of the parliamentarians today are aware of the rule, which said that on even days only even cars can come out, and odd days only the odd cars come out. I have a different proposal. This might be contradictory to some of the latest developments that have happened, especially in the state of Karnataka with respect to carpooling. But the problem with carpooling is that you cannot do it for profit. You cannot sell the seat for profit, but you can definitely share your seat. So what I'm proposing is the government will initiate a bill wherein every RC card of the car has a number of occupancies. It clearly states whether it is 4 occupants or 6 occupants or 7 occupants, depending on the model of the car. So I propose that every car that is on the road should be at least having 50% occupancy. For example, if we talk about a hatchback, let's say WagonR, which has a capacity of 4 people, then a minimum of 2 people should be present in the car at all times when it is on the road. I know it is very difficult to implement, I know there will be a lot of roadblocks, but what I feel is if there is a scenario where the driver is not able to find a co-passenger or his family members are not traveling with him, he will pay a minimum fine per day, which may be in the range of minimal amount, maybe 50 rupees or 100 rupees. What I want to achieve with this is that the money that we are collecting in the form of fines can be used to improve the green cover ranges in the cities where land is very, very limited. Also, it will encourage people to realize that having a car doesn't give them the luxury to block or to create pollution in the cities that they are living in. There may be certain problems which we will discuss, maybe with respect to the security issues and all. But my government will take the initiative. We will create an app or a website wherein everybody will be verified. Only the verifiers can opt for this model of transport. Yeah, that is the way I look forward for my India's pollution and science.
Honorable Deputy Speaker, Madam, my learned friend Deputy, he wants to impose fines. అంటే ఇప్పుడు రోడ్ ట్యాక్స్ కట్టాలా మా కార్ పై మా ఇష్టం ఎండ పడుతుంది వర్షం పడుతుంది ఎవడు ఎంతనో పోతాడు నలుగురు పోతారు who are you dictating like why are you dictating us? Yeah, so ఈ ఒక పాయింట్ నేను మాట్లాడుకుంటా I want to give chance to my
it's not a dictating. It's not a dictating.
But imposing fine is
it's not a imposing, but it's
let one speak.
But it is my car. How can you impose a penalty on me? How can you impose a penalty on me?
We do understand your suggestions.
This minimum occupancy bill is very idealistic and utopian. It can't happen in India this easily. It's so idealistic.
Of course, I agree with your point. It is idealistic, but we need suggestions of opposition. We consider after due consideration of all stakeholders. It is for the betterment of our society. It is for the betterment of our
betterment of whose society? Betterment of whose society?
It's not the ruling party that is traveling the road. It is all citizens who are traveling the road. It is for the betterment of larger public interests. Do take
Please, I will say please. Next thing here, please talk one after the other. And next is that please just have some explain and only one can speak now.
Yeah, I will ask this question. What LOP has asked, and also Madam Mochia. No, this is very short. Respect to the lead of opposition, this is just a bill, this is just an idea in the initial stages. We will work upon it as a team. We have to work it as a form team. You cannot stand and say, I have it, so I will do it. Because we have to understand that
an action by an individual has got a lot of repercussions for the whole country. And I am sure none of you would want to see India featuring in the top 10 polluted cities on a regular basis. And as Madam pointed out, ma'am, definitely, this is something which is very, sorry.
Number 1 and number 95, could you just say?
Ma'am, and as you have rightly pointed out, this is something which we have never tried in India. And I'm sure maybe in the world also. But the plan is not to bring it as a carpet plan, throughout India. We will be starting with the cities which are experiencing the most pollution. Because it was started in Delhi, remember, I think 4 to 5 years back, and there were results. Initially, there were people who were objecting to it, but if we think about the future of the India, like none of us will stay for so long, but for the next generation, we cannot give them furnaces to move forward. We have to change our behavioral pattern. Only then the country and the next generation will be able to enjoy what we are doing right now. So that was the reason why I put up the bill.
Madam, I would like to add one more point to my Prime Minister's point. It is more like government's responsibility. Apart from that, citizens' responsibility is also much needed for the implementation of this bill. Keeping that in consideration, we would take all the suggestions as well as all suggestions and obligations that you have in the bill can be considered, and we will frame out a final bill. That will be at the favor of the larger interest of not only the urban population, it is also for the rural population. As we are all the taxpayers, we should also be accountable to the non-taxpayers, who is also not. It should not become a burden for a non-taxpayers as well. Keeping that, I wanted to add this point to my Prime Minister's.
What about traffic issues?
This is my.
So when you mean traffic issues, what is it that you are actually pointing out?
Sir, we are seeing the city is rising. So the traffic issues are rising. You are seeing, and you came here in the morning, I think, so you can see the whole traffic. But full of traffic in Bangalore, Mumbai, Hyderabad, growing cities. So what about that? You are fining if the signal was crossed, you are fining. I mean
I'll put up this body in a frame away to respected Prime Minister, through respected Chair. Yeah. So, through I'll put up respected and I'll put up his words in order. His main trafficking मतलब alternate क्या आप infrastructure develop कर रहे हैं, metropolitan is highly congested, timely duty report करना पड़ता है, क्या alternate approach है उनकी सुविधा के लिए या ये कार ही देखते हैं?
Yes, sir. We as a country are facing a lot of issues with respect to infrastructure owing to the large number of population in some of the cities. We are working on developing public transport as a major source, as a primary source. But till then, this is what is a temporary. It's not something which is going to be like all around. We want our cities to be exemplary when it comes to public transport. It's not just, I mean, you know the situation that the country is facing currently. So we are working upon it. We are trying to increase we are trying to build the BRTC versus transport so that the public transport will be much faster and the movement can be much smoother. But at the same time, as my learned friend said, those who are having cars cannot be asked not to use them. We are only requesting them that if they are able to do this, and if a person who is traveling, let's say, for 10 kilometers every day, up and down 20 kilometers, so he is burning around nothing less than 500 rupees per day or something like that. And the purpose of putting the challan, once I would like to explain it. We want to mitigate what we call the police bribery. If at all we declare it as a fraud or as a fault from the bribe, every policeman in the next second stop him and collect bribes from him. So when you pay 50 rupees per day, the challan is valid for the whole day. You can travel just a single person if needed.
So we can make pollution with just 50 rupees.
No, see, the point is,
what about electric vehicles? So many companies are not coming to India about electric vehicles. You should increase the investments on electric vehicles.
Yes. As a user of electric
vehicles, eco-friendly vehicles.
Yes. Without any of these traffic issues, without any of this. Is our Prime Minister ప్రవేశపెట్టిన ఈ బిల్లుకి వ్యతిరేకిస్తూ మా opposition leader మరియు మా మీరు ఎలక్ట్రిక్ వెహికల్ ఇంక్రీజ్ చేయండి చాలు అప్పుడు 5 తిరగచ్చు
అధ్యక్ష.
Let me 50 రూపాయలతో పొల్యూషన్ చేయమని చెప్పట్లేదండి.
మీరు అదే అంటారు.
No, this is not giving you the right to do that. మీరు 50 రూపాయలు కట్టడం కూడా చేస్తున్నారు.
అంటే 50 రూపాయలు కట్టి పొల్యూషన్ చేయొచ్చు, 40 తినవచ్చు, 5 తినవచ్చు, ఎన్ని కాలంలో తినవచ్చు 50 రూపాయలు.
I am not encouraging people to pollute by paying 50 rupees. I am asking them to reimburse sir pollution responsibility.
Respected ma'am, let me allow. I request all of my colleagues to allow others to talk and listen. Hold their patience, right? At the same time, put up your value. I appreciate that we are opposing the bill. Ultimately, bill is supposed to be passed. That's our motto. But bring us with a new idea, as our brother said. Go ahead. It's supposed to be good.
I would like to address the electrical vehicle issue. What exactly? Why he is asking us electrical vehicles? Electrical vehicles is not been installed in India. Why it is not encouraged? It is a history of India that we are dependent on the conventional source of energy, brother. And I would like to bring this to you that infrastructure and integration of both central grid and state grid would take a time. This is what happening with now. And the power grid of India is in the discussion with all respective state in implementation of state grid, integration of electrical vehicles. Wherever you travel, wherever you go, if you reach out of Hyderabad for 20 kilometers, you don't even find electricity on the highways. So we need for
yes, that's the point. You should tell the electric points or like petrol bunks.
Yes, brother. Yes,
you should keep the electric points.
Yes, exactly.
If the electric vehicles are increased, then you will realize that electric points should be kept around 30 kilometers, about 10 kilometers, like petrol bunks.
The bill is what my Prime Minister has put in the table today is discussing about the conventional source of energy that we are using. We will be putting some cautions on that usage. Parallelly, we also develop the public rapid transportation as well as the infrastructure that is called the electrical vehicle charging points. That is on the table at the Power Ministry. Being a Power Minister, I agree with that. I would be answering you that question as a Power Minister.
Madam Speaker, my question is to Mr. Prime Minister that this is an innovative idea, isn't it? But any convoy మీరు వచ్చేది సార్? ఎన్ని కాన్వాయ్లలో మీరు వచ్చి ఎన్ని కాన్వాయ్లు మీ కాన్వాయ్
it is a decorum to the position what we hold. It is a decorum to the position.
You should also consider
security. It is a security.
Yes, sir. Security problem also private. I would like to answer that. Let me answer it.
Yeah, one more question. ఒక వ్యక్తి ట్రావెల్ చేస్తే కార్లో 500. ఆ వ్యక్తి పిక్ చేసుకోవడానికి వెళ్తుండేమో కాలేజేమో గారు వచ్చినప్పుడు ఉంటారేమో అప్పుడు how do you solve this? With this I want to end my question and I also want to talk to my brother. Let him also question you, sir. Yes.
Can I answer the reader first?
Answer the question, then we will be given a chance to speak.
Ma'am, in India we have this tendency of coming up with or finding the loopholes actually. Any bill that is there, I mean, the laws that are in India are sufficient to govern the country, but the problem mainly comes in implementation. Like my learned leader of opposition has informed. Anybody can get away by saying that I'm going to pick him or I'm going to pick her. But that is why I'm saying the fines are going to be minimal. We are talking about a person who is spending 500 rupees for commutation. 50 rupees what I told you is just an example. We have not come to the figure yet. It's just an example. If that is the case, then why are you not objecting?
And the other point I would like to add.
Please, wait.
Respect our people. We welcome, sir. Heartily welcome, sir. Heartly welcome to
We cordially welcome to the Thank you. Continue with this issue.
I provide my submission with the bill. He is supporting to the Prime Minister's bill. As a government, we also support.
Continue the zero.
Okay.
First, Prime Minister, once again, the question.
Ladies and gentlemen, since in this 3-day program, we have been discussing very keenly on one thing, trying to understand the ground reality. This is not a academic exercise, that's for sure. But at the same time, how can we mold ethics and identity in the upcoming parliamentarians, but still keeping them grounded, having them in the party lines, and making them accustomed to the today's current political scenario. So I don't think we can actually, or we would have actually invited anybody else to chair this session better than none other than Shri Jakash Narayana. We all very fondly call him JP, and many times I feel he's also the reincarnation of JP. You know, he had his path, he travelled his way. Until date, decades of his public life and politics, he ensured that come what may, how the politics run, whatever might be the election during, but I will stick to my core values. And when I had a discussion with him that there are organizing youth parliaments across the country, and LLMI is our second edition, and we wanted to actually chair one of the sessions, he was so happy to accept our nomination, and today he is with us. And he mentioned it very clearly, but it's not going to be of a speech, it's going to be an interaction. I was like, really? Yes. Speech is something we need for our own satisfaction, but interaction is something that is going to churn some ideas with this country. That was JP for us. And I request the principal of Law College, Radhika ma'am, to please welcome him with a Putin shot.
The floor is yours.
Sir, can we bounce you with some questions?
Please, that's the idea.
So my question is, India population is around 140 crores. The tax-paying population, working population will be around 70 crores. But the exactly tax-paying population is only around 10 crores, right? And most of them are salaried middle-class employees. And whoever are paying tax between the 20 to 30% bracket are feeling it's just a punishment because there is no benefit exactly taxpayers are receiving. Other end, the businesses are totally trying to upscan taxes, right? And the person who is paying is taking the brunt. For 90% of society, 10% is paying the taxes. And the lower socioeconomics who is not paying the taxes, getting the welfare schemes. Upper class is getting lower loans and loan waivers. So what about the middle class tax paying section? Do we need to change the taxation, or do we need to give some return, or what is the way out for this?
I think it's a very good question. You know, there's something called tax GDP ratio. Have you heard?
Yes.
As a share of the national income, how much is the government collecting? We are not collecting more than what is reasonable for our level of income per capita. We are about 18%. Union and the states put together, all kinds of taxes put together, income tax, corporate tax, indirect taxes, GST, the primary one, excise, customs, all together, union and states together, they are collecting 18%, which is quite reasonable. That is roughly on par with the rest of the world, but for our level of income. So first we must understand. Second, what is happening in India is the link between taxes and services is missing. That's why when you pay tax, you pay most reluctantly and unhappily. Very few people pay taxes happily because you don't see what is happening in return. There are two primary reasons for that. Actual taxpayers, direct taxpayers, individual income taxpayers are all over 6.5 crores. 10 crores are the returns, most of them don't pay taxes. Only about 6 crore people pay taxes. Direct income tax. GST everybody pays. Rich, poor, all consumption we pay taxes. Other forms of taxes we all pay. So it's not that people don't pay taxes. But the link between taxes and what is happening in return is missing. What is the difference between a monarchy and a democracy? In a monarchy, the king collected taxes as a right. He doesn't have to tell us what he's doing with tax money. He may build a mansion for his mistress or for his queen. He may do whatever is whimsical, whatever appeals to him at a point of time. That's what kings did. Whereas in a democracy, the tax money is supposed to make our lives better. Now, that link is missing in this country for two primary reasons, and that's where we should really look at. The first is, what exactly should the government do? We are very confused. We are all debating here, you see debates in Parliament and state legislatures. Most of the debate is relevant, I'm sorry to tell you. It's unrelated to people's lives. It's all about shurmachana, and then signaling, shouting, getting into the well. Because they have lost a sense of what is the purpose of politics, what is the purpose of a government. I want you to think very carefully. You all are excited about politics or legislatures. What is this about? Each of us, in our lives, 80 to 90% of the things that matter are in your hands. Your or your own family's hands, where you live, what kind of business you do, what kind of education you want to pursue, what kind of profession you want to practice, how you spend your money, what you do with your time. These are all your personal, whom you marry. These are all your personal decisions. And you determine what happens to yourselves. But there is an area of 10-15% which is vital for your happiness, but cannot be decided personally. These are the collective needs. What individually you cannot fulfill, no matter how rich and powerful you are, even a Tata or Ambani cannot fulfill those needs. For instance, what kind of education do your children get? What kind of health care that we all get? Or how the road is, or how the traffic is. You all know Hyderabad, most of it of Hyderabad is such a issue. How chaotic the traffic is, you get a green signal, but the red fellow suddenly zooms past at 60 kilometers, you're terrified. Now, this is not under your control. Or do you get the protection of the police when you need it? Or is there justice when your rights are violated? Or is there basic infrastructure? In order for economy to grow and therefore jobs are created and incomes rise. These are all things which are vital for our lives but cannot be decided by you or your family. The government's primary role is this, to fulfill the collective needs which we as individuals cannot fulfill. What happened is in our country, the governments have forgotten this basic objective. We forget the political parties, doesn't matter to vote for them. Just think of what's happening every single day, what they're saying, what they're doing, and newspaper headlines every single day. None of it is about the collective needs. It's all about I gave you this. Niku varamicha. Telugulo me kontamandi. Nenicha. Danamicha. Varamicha. Vadu babu garu sadla. So it's all about somehow getting into power. Treating people not as taxpayers and citizens but as voters, voting machines. Somehow manipulate their mind to get the vote. That has dominated the nature of politics. This is something that you need to address. Whether you are in the assemblies and parliament or outside does not matter. But citizens, taxpayers and voters, this is critical for our future. The second part linked to this is how it is so centralized that even if a government wants to do the right things, it's not capable of doing it. Because the link between the government and the people is very, very intricate, very complicated, very distant. You understand where the tax money is going only when power is localized. I'll give you a very simple example. I live in an apartment. We all pay monthly maintenance, you call it a tax. Right? We pay something mandatory for our collective needs. You know why we are paying. The lift must be maintained properly. Every apartment should have water supply. The apartment should be managed well. Watch and ward should be good so that people don't enter my house without permission. So these are the collective needs for which I am paying. And for which I have, all of us together have chosen a committee. That's our government, our parliament. Now the moment the lift does not function, is any of us going to be quiet? Immediately we should maintenance being paid. Lift is not functioning, we have people I know. Doctors tell me I walk very fast. I'm one of the fastest walkers of high age. I want to climb up and down at a certain age. The joints will be affected. Or suppose you drink water to the house. How will you survive? What is happening when power is localized? You have a clear link between what you are paying as tax and what you get in return. In India, there is this. That's the reason why vote by buying. Today, I think elections are going to be notified. Somebody told me. You all know if you have some understanding that politics was going to happen later on, right? How much of this is spending the elections? Assembly, for the one assembly segment, about 25, 30, 40 crores is not That's a very low number. I always prefer to give low numbers exaggerated. In some high elections, they are going to go to a very observer. That money, now that you are sitting as a citizen partner, that money in assembly by election in Telangana, that expenditure is more than the total expenditure in the parliamentary election by both the major candidates and 1,300 parliamentary candidates in 2019. I made an astounding statement that in a poor country, in a small state, one assembly segment, the expenditure of the election costs more than the total British national parliamentary election. The absurdity is, why? Because the linkage is the people don't understand why you are voting. We go to great gusto, great celebration, festive. No election is more noisy than Indian election. And no election is more costly than Indian election. This is because people have no understanding of why we are voting and what are the consequences of the vote and why we are paying taxes and what are the services we get. Unless we re-engineer it. This vote buying. The other thing is, they are forgetting the collective services. It's all about nenista, nenicha. So individual short-term welfare, that's necessary. I'm not opposed to that, but that's not the only thing government should be doing. Government should be primarily providing us the collective goods and services that we cannot otherwise get. They have forgotten that in the large measure. India has the worst infrastructure. Even today, though there's some improvement in the last 10, 15, 20 years in the country. But even today, despite that, among the 49 large economies of the world, more than $200 billion GDP, take simply economy size-wise, the top 49 or 50, India ranks in the bottom 5 on every single indicator. That's not where we should be. That's not what we deserve. We deserve much better. We deserve much more. Because our government stopped functioning the way they should actually function. So when you look at taxes, I'm glad that question is raised. You look deeper. Tax collection is not too high. Yes, there are some distortions. Yes, some people are evading taxes, but it's getting better and better. Trust me. Yes. The fact that we are collecting 18% comparable to other countries of our economic status, it means that we are roughly an average. And we are improving tax collection. There's a lot more to be done. But the real challenge is, how do you establish this link between the vote and the public good, taxes and services? And if you look at that, not merely becoming, how do I become an MLA or an MP? You know, there are plenty of fellows who want to be MLAs and MPs in India. There's no dearth of competition there. But if your purpose is to become an MLA not doing why, then you are no different from the rest of the fellows who are doing it now all the time. Right? So this exercise to me is an opportunity for you brilliant, idealistic young minds to explore it. What is happening to our democracy with optimism? And how do we make it better? Think deep. Okay? Next question.
Good morning, sir. Firstly, I would like to thank you for coming here. It's an honor and privilege, and I'm also a member of FDR, Foundation for Democratic and Reforms. My question is, sir, what is your opinion on present education system? Like, what is your opinion, sir? What are the reforms that should be taken in the education system?
Great question. Only today, my column on the subject has appeared in the Free Press Journal in Bombay. You know, in the last 10 or 15 years, there were only 2 discussions in Parliament on education. The first one was when the Right to Education Act was being enacted, I think sometime around 2007 or 8. Exactly, I don't recall, but the first UPA government. I was a part of the National Advisory Council when that law was being drafted. It's a well-meaning law, but a bad law. So some desultory discussion. Now everybody is saying, you know, standard quantification, all the standard. The second one was, in the IAS examination, UPSC examination, the UPSC introduced a paper called aptitude test, logic and aptitude. Many MPs, particularly from some parts of the country, they all complained saying that if you have this test, our kids from our part of the country do not get IAS. How come you have logic for IAS officers? They protested. There was a debate in the Parliament. Not about improve education, but whether or not IAS officers require logic. Logical thinking. There was actually a discussion. The Prime Minister, Dr. Manmohan Singh at the time, he finally persuaded and said, logic is necessary, but because you are complaining, you will not allow it to be part of the merit calculation. We will then make it a qualifying examination. This is the last debate in Parliament, the last 15 years, that is the only debate in Parliament on education. This is understanding of education. Economist, have you heard of the newspaper Economist? Yes. I regarded it one of the finest papers. I may not agree with them always, but in terms of professionalism, quality of writing, research, insights. It's a remarkable. Even when I was coming here, I was browsing in my context. The Economist said, the Indian elected leaders, they are advising that the failure of education in India is not to improve the standards of education, but to reduce the standards of examination for the elite civil services. So our education is in shambles. We are, again I'm sorry to say, great optimists. So when I say something which is factual, sometimes you may think that, no, Dr. J.J. is a pessimist. No, I'm a great optimist. But optimism does not mean I ignore truth. You must understand the truth and figure out how to change the truth if the truth is like that. True optimism is not glossing over the area. We are among the worst in the world in education. Out of 74 countries which participated in a survey called PISA, anybody heard of PISA? There is an OECD survey called PISA, Program for International Students Assessment. Out of 74 countries, we were 73rd. A country called Kyrgyzstan was luckily in the list. Otherwise, we were in the last. And you know what the responsibility in the government, that is what is interesting. I, among others, I started talking about it very loudly in the country. Look, you know, Indian children are very bright, parents sacrifice segregation, society values education. We can do better. Let us understand why we are not doing better and improve it. I was using this as an opportunity because, you know, once you say 73rd or 74, why is it so bad? Naturally, no. It should excite us. I was using that as an opportunity. You know what the government's response was? Can anybody guess?
No, not attending the.
They said, henceforth India will not participate in this survey. And that's it. This was 2009. Since then, India did not participate in PISA survey. Because if there is no data, I can't even say, look here, you must look. We can pretend you will be here, right? Because there was such an Alala. We have Alala, we have Sundar Pichai, we have best in the world. We can pretend. Our reputation is incredibly bad. But the good news is the demand side is very, very strong. All of you are examples. You work very hard. I don't know whole part of the books. And some of you concept schools, technical schools, years schools, morning 7 o'clock, I know. Very sacrifices team. In almost all your cases, I can say without any contradiction. Hindu or Muslim, caste or urban or rich or poor, Indian parents live and die for their children. They sacrifice. Then I suppress their own desires, but for your education, get the need. Society values education. Governments are spending enormous amounts on education. 90,000 in Andhra Pradesh for a child in school per year. 80,000 plus in Telangana. So we have all good things, except outcomes. I'm going to learn in a minute. I don't know what to say. So the simple answer, there are many ways of doing it, but the simplest answer is changing the examination system. If the examination is a very bad system, copying, rote learning, nothing. All you require to get a first class in college, I'm sorry, I don't need to offend you, it applies to everyone else in the country. Last week at 10 days, we got the answers to the last VS test question to get a first class. True or not?
Lectures also same like that. Lectures also same like that. They have no knowledge.
So how do you call education? Suppose you actually make it, the examination meaningful, no rote learning, conceptual understanding, and application of knowledge and critical thinking. Suppose they are tested, there are ways of testing. One, it becomes stress-free because you don't have to mug up. There is no stress and memory. It's actually understanding and application of knowledge. Two, it becomes a measure of your education. Only thing is, you have to make sure that there is no copy, because there is mass copying rampant in most parts of India, as I understand. So if you do that, everything else will change. The whole system will reorient itself. So education is shambles, but we can do very well, very quickly.
So small add-on to the same issue. What I would I'm seeing schools in Hyderabad where they are charging for 4 years 10 lakh fees per year. 3 out of 4 normal fees are private schools, right? So quality is bad and we are paying high fees. Whatever.
The easy answer is regulatory. It's a paradox. Why? When there is a demand supply mismatch, everyone wants education for their children. But they feel the supply is not there. There is a desperation. Therefore, the suppliers charging more. They are asking for a lot of charge. You want to build a school, you have to buy the budget, it costs so much money, you build it, and they the answer lies in you to the supply. Because if you eliminate the fee, you cannot have uniform standards of segregation because the infrastructure they want to change. But two, I can guarantee you, it will not reduce the fee, it will only increase corruption. So yes, it's a problem, but to me, the real problem is not that. The real problem is how do you improve the outcomes? How do you guarantee that the child of the 15 coming out of the class, you can be reasonably confident of this level of understanding and delivery. Once you do that, the country is safe. Then we can figure out how to do the structure, etc. These are all peripheral issues. Real issues is, are our children getting education? God or nature, they don't discriminate. God does not say only Hindus will get brains, or only this caste will get brains, or only Telangana kids will get brains. God distributed intelligence roughly equal. But if education is not available, real education, intelligence is wasted. The gene pool is wasted.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon, sir. I am Vishal. I have a question, sir.
Raise your hand, sir. Will somebody monitor?
Sir.
Good morning, sir. Myself, Chandrasekhar Gopinath. Instead of asking a question, I need to address from your side, sir. Like,
Will be seated.
yes, sir. అంటే మన కొలీగ్స్ సంబంధం మన ఫ్యూచర్ జనరేషన్కి ఇస్తూ ఉంటాం మన అందరికీ తెలుసు కదా సార్. అంటే రీసెంట్ మన కోవిడ్ టైమ్స్ వచ్చిన తర్వాత కూడా మనం ఎంతో నాలెడ్జ్ ఆల్రెడీ ప్రీవియస్ లోనే మనకు ఉన్నాయి, ప్రీవియస్ లోనే సొల్యూషన్స్ అని దాగున్నాయని తెలుస్తున్నాయి. సో అట్లాంటి నాలెడ్జ్ ని మనం ఏదైనా డిజిటలైజేషన్ చేయొచ్చు, అంటే డిజిటల్ లైబ్రరీలో పెట్టేసి దాని నుంచి అందరికి యాక్సెస్ కల్పించవచ్చు. ఈస్ దేర్ ఎనీ ప్లాట్ఫామ్ టు అవైల్ ఆల్ దీస్ ఆపర్చునిటీస్? ఈ నాలెడ్జ్ ని ఇప్పుడు అంటే మనం ఓన్లీ సంపాదన మన ఫ్యూచర్ జనరేషన్స్ ఇవ్వడం కాకుండా మన పూర్వీకులు ఏదైతే ప్రాక్టీసెస్ ఉన్నాయో, ఏదైతే సొల్యూషన్స్ ఉన్నాయో వీటి అందరికి ఇవ్వగలవచ్చా? ఈస్ దేర్ ఎనీ మీనింగ్ఫుల్ ప్లాట్ఫామ్ ఫర్ దట్?
I think there are many platforms. Actually, today technology has come to our aid. 30 years ago, when you wanted to research something, you have to pick up the right book. I traveled enormously. In those days, I used to travel 300 days in a year. And I was writing 3 columns a week and so on, and doing enormous research. So for me, researching was so difficult. Carrying books and today, with the click of a button, just you have the mobile phone, that's it. If you know how to Google and how to search, so knowledge is being systematized and made accessible. And even traditional knowledge. Only thing is, call it after traditional one brief point. There are pearls of wisdom in tradition, every tradition. There's also a lot of trash in every tradition. Don't confuse between the two. If you don't discriminate what is meaningful and relevant, and pick it up, and discard what is irrelevant and stupid, then we'll go astray. I just want that caution to be expressed.
Yes.
Good afternoon, sir.
Yes, please.
I am Vishal. So I have a question, sir. The question is, government is implementing many welfare schemes, but those schemes are not reaching people. What is the problem? Is there a problem in policy making? Are the policy makers not that what we call eligible? Or
You can ask question in Telugu also.
okay, or it is due to current political leaders, or what? That is my questions.
Thank you, Vishal. No, Vishal, this criticism is no longer true. It was much more true 20, 30, 40 years ago. Today, they are not delivering what is required for the community at large. They are doing very bad education, healthcare, infrastructure, etc., etc. But individual welfare schemes, they improved delivery remarkably. Earlier, when we were all in government, etc., most of the debate and most of the research papers and studies were leakage, targeting. Today, thanks to digitization, Jan-Dhan, Aadhaar, UPI, and a whole lot of things, actually the benefits are reaching. Political parties are not longer the richest in relation to the society is good, but individual welfare is scrupulously organized. So while what you say was true earlier, it is increasingly not really a problem. Individual welfare is teaching people, but the government ought to do it without there is no recourse to the people. How do you do the quality education for every citizen? How do you do healthcare? No. 6 crore people are becoming poor every year in India. 6 crore people descending to poverty every year because of the bad healthcare system. How do you do that? Candidates of rainfall is a year or infrastructure how there is a flood. Half an hour before there is a flood. No stormwater drainage, no solar system, no traffic management, no rule of law. So the things that government alone can do, they are generally not bothering. They are doing very badly most of the time. Whereas the things you can do to individuals, Because political parties feel that they can get the vote in that manner, they're actually implementing that delivery. So it's no longer true that welfare is not delivered well, welfare is delivered pretty well. And it's simple.
Sir, I have a question. How to bridge the gap between the ideologies? The way we react, it means, for example, I have left ideology. I will react in a very extreme way and harsh way to the right-wing ideology. And the person from right ideology, he or she reacts in a very extreme way. So, Mohammed Yusuf.
Yes,
तो सर हम बहुत ज़्यादा और बहुत स्पॉन्टेनियस और बहुत एक्सट्रीम वे में रिएक्ट करते हैं. नो मैटर द आइडियाज कितना अच्छा हो, उनके ओपिनियंस कितने अच्छे हो, अगर सर ऐसा ही रहा तो क्या हम एज ए नेशन जिस हिसाब से हमें ग्रो करना चाहिए क्या हम उस हिसाब से ग्रो कर पाएंगे? और सर आपके हिसाब से इसको टैकल कर या एज ए सोसाइटी अगर हम मिलजुल करके, बिकॉज वी बिलीव इन वासुदेव कुटुंबकम, so as a society हमें किस तरह से ग्रो करना चाहिए?
It's a great question, particularly in today's context in India and the world. It's a problem all over the world. You know, Mohammed, the moment you think of left or right labeling, you always get into problems. You forget this. These are all artificial labels. That's why I started off with the purpose of government. What is the role of the government? Individual beliefs, the faith you practice, the beliefs you have, the lifestyle, it's your business. As long as nobody else says that's what liberty is, right? What is liberty? You can do pretty much what you want as long as I am not that. Your freedom ends where my nose begins. Until that time you exercise freedom. I have no business to interfere in your life. But government, if you understand the purpose of government rather than labeling, then examine whether the purposes are served for you or not, individually and collectively. Then it's no longer left or right. For instance, I am a great champion of economic freedom and competition and choice. I am a great champion of quality education available to every single child without having to pay out of pocket. I am a great champion of quality health care for every single family without out-of-pocket expenditure. No, am I left or am I right?
There is no doubt.
So this left-right is an artificially recreated because we want identity. We want to be part of a club, part of a caste. We want to virtue signal. We want to pretend to be better than others. And we abuse others. But if you actually examine issues dispassionately, what's there in it for us? And what is the role of the government? Now, when I left the government, on this moment, one of the questions, the first question is, sir, public sector, private sector. I tell them, how does it matter? It's irrelevant to me. Whether the cat is black or white does not matter to me. What matters is that does the cat, what does it do? What do you expect it to do? Does it catch mice or not? Does it catch rats or not? Deng Xiaoping said famously, the color of the cat does not matter. The function of the cat matters. We are confused about this color, we forgot the function. Once we are clear about that, the purpose that we are pursuing, then left, right is irrelevant. There are good principles in left, good principles in right. Bad principles in left, bad principles in left. Both. And which purpose is better served by pursuing which principle you understand. The second thing is, think a little bit. Before immediately using this wretched mobile phone and then flicking it and then saying something stupid, just think a little bit. Pause. There's no harm. Very often, silence is good. Just think a little bit. Before coming out with uneducated, irrelevant, stupid ideas, after years later you'll feel how stupid I am. Think a little bit. Have a framework of reference.
Yes, so next question.
These two, I think, will help other people. And I'm not saying anything I don't practice. I never get into this stupidity.
Thank you, sir.
Good afternoon, sir. I'm Kanak. So, sir, in our India, our IAS officer strives hard and cracks the UPSC exam. But still, he bends and he bows down in front of an MLA or MP. Like, he bends down in front of a political leader. So, sir, as civil aspirants,
People fill my ears that तुम कितना भी पढ़ लो, कितना भी crack कर लो, तुम्हें झुकना ही पड़ेगा. So what's the use? I want this answer.
I couldn't get your name.
Sir Kanak.
Kanak, thank you. Where are you from?
Sir from Karimnagar.
Parliament. I was trained in that district. I'm very fond of the district. You all side with officials because they are people like us. You want to be an officer. That is a bad idea. I'll tell you an anecdote, a real life story. I was MD of the State Cooperative Bank in the state CEDB, Cooperative Development Bank, before you were all born. Maybe some of your parents were children at the time. Long ago, some 34, 35 years ago. I did not have an elected management. Therefore, I was the supreme boss. I went to the chief minister and said, please conduct elections. He said, Jayprakash, you have all the power. If there is an elected management there, then they will decide what is to be done. You'll be subordinate to them. Why do you want it? I said, Mr. Chief Minister, do you think you are more intelligent than me? I actually asked him this question in a very friendly sort of way. He said, no, I knew you right from your entry into civil service. You're very, very bright at that. Then I said, can you afford to be more honest than me? He said, no, we are in politics. We have to survive. We have to compromise. I said, why am I taking your orders? He said, why? I said, because you have only one strength, that is the legitimacy of the people's sanction. What is democracy? The people decide. You must decide, do you want democracy or not? If you want democracy, you cannot say, I ignore what the people want. Then the biggest gun will rule, or the biggest money bag will rule, or the fellow with the biggest muscle will rule. Yes, our democracy is flawed. We discussed today how much money is being spent and how people are being win, how you're dividing them caste, religion, etc. The answer is, how do I improve my democracy? Not how do I support my democracy and make an elected officer who luckily are there because in Maktab very well and the exam was very happy that day. His wife was very nice to him that day, and therefore he scored very well. What business do we have to govern? It is the height of ignorance and arrogance to think that politicians have no place. They and they alone represent the people. I'm not saying they are good people. If that people are elected, let's figure out how to improve that system. Why do you think I'm doing what I'm doing? How to improve the system, not how to support the system. Otherwise, what will happen? Pakistan. You want Pakistan situation? Or you want many other countries like that? So the only answer to the ills of a democracy is more democracy and better democracy. Not necessarily elected leaders. But it does not mean elected leader is the king. It means there must be rule of law. Elected leaders must frame their policies. And bureaucracy must execute them efficiently, dispassionately, competently, and without failure, impartial. But people give their vote only to elected leaders to make policy decisions and to make laws. Never be confused. The moment you think, I passed the examination, that fellow did not, I can guarantee you, person to person, a politician is far superior to an officer. Passing examinations doesn't make anybody better. They understand the reality. Because they abuse each other so much, we think they're all substandard people. No. The finest administrators that I have known are people who did not even finish school. The best chief minister of the Telugu land was Vengal. He did not even finish school, but he was the best chief minister. So don't be confused about degrees and examinations and public service. I'm not saying officers are useless. I'm saying if your examination is the only badge, ignore that badge. It's irrelevant. You have to prove yourself.
Thank you so much, sir. Yeah, next question.
Good morning, sir. Pleasure to have you here. I'm Srinath. So I need your point or assertion on the conducting of student elections, especially in the South Indian universities, which is lacking in South India, which I've been observing in the last 10 years. Because when I was working in Delhi, I used to see every walls were being posted with the JNU and DU, where the students' union were being considered as national level leaders. That has been lacking. What is your assessment on this? That I want, especially in the Usmania University, which has which has been the backbone of the agitation and a separate state. Now that lacks in elections conducting within the students among the universities. And that I want to understand.
No, as a Democrat, I want democratic management of every institution. But what happened is, instead of student politics becoming an example to the national politics, they have taken the ugliness of the politics outside into university campuses. Yes. Definitely democracy in the universities, but not imitation of what's happening in assembly and parliament elections. If you are smart, ask for a different electoral system, like for instance, alternative voting system like in Australia, where the best candidates can be chosen. The best practices recommended, so that they influence the decision making and politics outside. Unfortunately, so far what happened is, the politics outside, the ugliness of dysfunctional politics of India, influence politics within the campuses. And therefore many people are very upset about it. That's the reason why, if you say no elections in universities is very populist. So democracy, yes, but the student community and the teaching community also must prove that they can institute a better model of democracy that serves as an example of the country.
All the CEOs, top CEOs are from India, but the owners are from Americans. What is happening in India? Is it because of reservation?
You see, we are at a stage of development where our companies still are not global except a few. America dominates because of money, because of innovation, because of financial instruments, and because of the ability to attract the best talent in the world. You take the Nobel laureates. Any day, any year, Americans dominate, but all American Nobel laureates were born elsewhere. They moved to America. They're attracting the best talent because they created conditions where talent can flourish. Now, we will also rise, it will take time, but a lot more needs to be done to improve innovation. With this kind of education, you should have substantive research in universities. How can there be any real innovation in the country? So we can do it. The fact that some of our better brains are able to hold their own anywhere in the world shows that we are capable. But the fact that we are not able to do it within the country means our institutional setup is very bad. We have to learn from the best and then improve that. That's all. China, for instance, created not global companies, world-class companies. So that's the beauty of China, not only economic growth, but also when companies they're able to build that. We must also build that. Slowly some companies are emerging, but we need to do a lot more.
Yeah. Next question.
Good afternoon, sir. I'm Saraju Sneha, and I would like to know about your reflections of being a bureaucrat and a politician, and which one was more satisfying for you in making policies and serving people?
Sneha, supposing you take a constable. If the constable is honest, hardworking, and understands the law and his role, that is the most satisfying job. Why? There is a direct link between your actions and helping a citizen. Now, does it mean that the SP's job is useless? Does it mean the DGG is useless? Does it mean that the lawmaker is useless? No, they are all required, but the link is much more complicated. So the Prime Minister's job is that way most difficult because the link between what you do and what the citizen gets is very, very remote. So personal satisfaction, supposing you are a doctor in the medical field, we never get the same higher cake as when you save a patient's life. I save patients' lives. I'm a medical doctor by training. I remember that cake. I remember that high, that excitement that I saved a life. If I were not there at that time, in those few minutes, that person would have died. There's nothing more satisfying than that, but it does not mean that is the one reason that is required for that. Because if I have to say, there's a lot more that has happened from a lot more people for me to be able to save those. So certainly, when you are functioning as a civil servant, particularly at the grassroots level, when you are directly able to impact lives, that gives you a high. But the work I'm doing now is incredibly more complicated, more difficult, and nobody is willing to do it. Therefore, this has to be done. So, to me, all are equally important. I enjoy everything.
Ma'am, here.
Yeah, next question.
Sir, నా పేరు యోగేష్ సార్. మేమందరం కూడా పార్లమెంట్గా వెళ్ళాలని, ఎంపీగా వెళ్ళాలని ఇక్కడ వచ్చాం సార్. సో ఎలక్షన్ సంబంధించిన ఒక చిన్న సజెషన్ అనుకోండి సార్. ఈరోజు ఒక యంగ్ లీడర్కి కావాల్సింది విజన్ క్రోర్స్ ఆఫ్ రూపీస్. ఎందుకంటే జస్ట్ నో ఇందాక మనం అనుకున్నాం తెలంగాణ ఎలక్షన్స్ కానీ దేశంలో ఎక్కడ ఎలక్షన్స్ కానీ ధనబలం ఉన్న వాళ్ళు లేదా లెగసీతో వచ్చిన వాళ్ళు చాలా మంది, వాళ్ళకే టికెట్స్ వస్తున్నాయి. సో పాలసీ మేకర్గా ఒక విజనరీ లీడర్ ఉండాలంటే ఫస్ట్ ఆఫ్ ఆల్ మనం జనాలకు సర్వ్ చేయాలనే ఆశ, దానికి ప్రజలలో ఎట్లా తీసుకుపోవాలి, మద్యం డబ్బు లేకుండా ఎట్లా గెలవాలి, ఎట్లా ఎలక్షన్స్ లో నిలవాలి, ఒక 2-3 పాయింట్స్ లో మీరు సజెషన్ చేస్తే బాగుంటుంది సార్. థ్యాంక్ యూ సార్.
Amudu, I am the one who encouraged the middle classes and young people to enter the political mainstream. I founded a party only for the reasons, to show the difference. But the truth is, there is no space for the kind of things that you want in politics today. That's perfectly true. But without spending money, but the first thing that any major party will ask is how much money can you spend? If the answer is zero, you have no chance. The party will not give you a seat. If the party gives you a seat or not, you have no chance to say. Maybe 1 in 100 in a unique set of circumstances because of your strength of the personality and integrity, you may occasionally have a chance, at the most. So the truth is, politics is messed up. But there are different ways of addressing it. Despite everything that is wrong, our democracy is simply serving us reason to that. This is not a black or white situation. We have peaceful transfer of power. We have competitive elections. We have political elections. Whatever be the faults of political parties, they are at least trying to keep the society united. Because after all, if I want to get the vote of a significant number, I cannot appeal to only this caste or that religion. I have to somehow appeal to a broad group. So that necessity. And then we thought about enormous unity. Despite linguistic diversity, 22 languages. Swati probably speaks Kannada. I speak Telugu. Some of you speak some other languages. But in no other country can you comfortably sit here and discuss. We have done remarkably well. We are also doing remarkably badly. Both are true. So our challenge is not whether I get elected as MP or not. Our challenge is, can I create a better democracy? And if I, a bright young person like him, or any of you, cannot aspire to be an MLA or MP despite your ability or idealism, your competence, then what is wrong? How do I say it? For instance, how can you get greater prominence in political parties? Today, it's only the sons and daughters of politicians that are gaining prominence. Rest of the people are not there as a quality of music. You can't tell again what the serious about. You think about how do you change it? Two things. Supposing power is localized, power is in a small municipality, then right young people like you can earn the favor of the people. You can get no. Some of you can actually get elected and deliver very competently. Then people see, the Kurala manchi quality undi, amma baga chestundi, veelu kavali kada. By centralizing power, we did not give ourselves that chance. Second, suppose within the party, who is the candidate is not decided by a party boss, but by the party members. What you call primary elections in many countries. America has primary elections. You know, I monitored in 2002 the presidential election and the parliamentary election and the local elections all together in Kenya. After 27 days of dictatorship, a man called Daniel Moy was a dictator. Because of the public pressure in the country, international pressure, finally he decided after the Commonwealth was to monitor the election. And what is remarkable, the dictator's son wanted to be candidate of the dictator's party for the parliament. He could not become, despite dictatorship until then, their democracy in some respects was better than our democracy, because there was a primary election. This president's son at that time, General Point's son, had to contest for the primary election. He could not win the party members' vote. He could not become candidate. Can you say that about India? In any state, with any political party? Supposing you fight for that we decide who is the candidate, not the party bosses. Supposing power is decentralized, then youth have a chance, and the country gets better. So there are ways of improving it. Democracy does not happen overnight. Just because you give the vote and the right to shout, it doesn't make a full democracy. So much more is needed in the country. It is those deficiencies that are making our democracy flawed. So instead of complaining and attacking and criticizing, if we understand why it is so, if we understand the evolution of democracies world over, we should figure out what are the critical links missing, and then raise your collective voice instead of wasting your social media presence and that and all stupid things. A lot of social media is garbage, right? Wasting your lunch over irrelevant things, but think deeply, come up with sensible solutions, and then mobilize the people, mobilize young people. Then you become part of the problem, part of the solution. That is my way of approaching it. Not whether you become MLA, how do I carry my mind? Whether we join the IAS or not, how am I interested? After all, everybody in India wants to be an IAS. How do I carry the IAS? As long as I get the best service for the person. There is not a fellow in India who doesn't want to be an MP. This is the only country where an absolutely ignorant fellow who has no credentials for public service, you say, will you become an MLA? He will not say, not for the president, will give you a seat. So there is so much of lust for power in this country. Everybody wants to how do I go there and your ambition is yours. As a citizen, my concern is, am I getting the best out of it? So focus on that. It will take time. But during your active lifetimes, I believe that change is possible. It's not going to be easy, but you must think through. A lot of revolution begins here first. It does not begin here. Not even here, it begins here. First think through it, carefully, systematically, logically, strategically, without right or left. Then you get answers.
Sir. ఇండియాలో ఫ్రీ ఎడ్యుకేషన్ ఫ్రీ హెల్త్ దొరకదు అండ్ ఫ్రీ సేమ్ హెల్త్ సేమ్ ఎడ్యుకేషన్ అందరికీ ఉండదు అంటే హైయర్ సో దీంట్లో నా సొల్యూషన్ ఏంటంటే గవర్నమెంట్ ఒక గ్రూప్ ని తయారు చేసి ఇప్పుడు ఐఏఎస్ కానీ దీంట్లో కానీ గ్రూప్ 1 గ్రూప్ అన్నిటికీ ప్రైవేట్ గా అకాడమీస్ నడుస్తుంది. అలా నడిచేదంటే ఒక గ్రూప్ ని ఆన్లైన్ లో జస్ట్ కనీసం అవి చెప్పి అబ్బాయి తీసేయాలంటే తీసేయలేరు. సో వాటి అలా కాకుండా జస్ట్ గవర్నమెంట్ ఎడ్యుకేషన్ ఇప్పుడు బేసిక్ ఎడ్యుకేషన్ 10th వరకు ఉంది కదా, వాళ్ళకి బేసిక్ నాలెడ్జ్ కూడా ఉండట్లేదు. 10th వరకు డిగ్రీ వరకు కూడా బేసిక్ నాలెడ్జ్ ఉండట్లేదు కదా. సో అలాంటి వాళ్ళకు జస్ట్ ఒక గ్రూప్ టోటల్ కంట్రీలో ఉన్న పీపుల్స్ అందరికి అంటే పిల్లలందరికీ ఎడ్యుకేషన్ అయ్యేలా ఒక గ్రూప్ ని ఒక యాప్ త్రూ అందరికీ ఎడ్యుకేషన్ బెస్ట్ టీచర్ బెస్ట్ వాళ్ళని ఇంక్లూడ్ చేసుకున్నందులో వాళ్ళ ద్వారా చెప్పిస్తే సరిపోతుంది కదా. అంటే ఎవ్రీ విలేజ్ లో పెట్టాలి అంటే అది కుదరదు కదా సార్. సార్ సెంటర్స్ పెట్టినా కానీ ఇన్ఫ్రాస్ట్రక్చర్ కానీ లెక్చర్స్ కానీ వాళ్ళు ఎడ్యుకేటెడ్ గా ఉంటారా అని తెలియదు. ఎందుకంటే ఇప్పుడు పెట్టాలి ఇన్ఫ్రాస్ట్రక్చర్ లేదు, వాళ్ళు అక్కడ ఏది నడవలేదు కూడా సార్. ఏదో పై పైన నడిపిస్తాం సార్, ఓకే అది వదిలేసేయండి. కానీ ఎడ్యుకేషన్ త్రూ జస్ట్ ఒక యాప్ లో ఆయన ఎడ్యుకేట్ చేస్తే కనీసం బేసిక్ నాలెడ్జ్ అయినా వాళ్ళు ఎంతవరకు చదవాలో అంతవరకు కనీసం చదువుతారు. క్వశ్చన్ కాదు.
Certainly, digitization and technology give us greater opportunity. Right now, for instance, I am working with some people very, very seriously to create a digital tool for assessment, for a better assessment at school level. My dream is once the tool is perfected, very close to proper shape, at least 10% of the 28 crore school children in India must make it free. And that assessment must become a tool for improving the outcomes. So technology helps. But it's not merely technology. Think through it very carefully. There is no silver bullet. There is no instant fix to complex challenges. But the good news is the government is spending a lot of money on education. You don't require to spend more money, you just have to spend it twice. A little better. Healthcare we are spending very badly, inadequately. We have to spend more, a little more, we can't afford to spend a lot more. We don't have money. So any solution must be practical. If I say give 5% of the GDP, even 0.5% is going to be a very big challenge. There's no money. So how do I get the best outcomes with just about 0.5% GDP, more expenditure in healthcare, but redesigning it? You must think through it a great deal more. But trust me, both for education and healthcare, there are remarkably good solutions for India. Affordable solutions. In fact, I am working a lot in these two areas. I am the author of the National Health Mission, which is nothing compared to what needs to happen. Right now I am working on a genuine healthcare reform in the country and education reform. It's possible. We are very lucky as a country. We mess up many things, but we can do them much more than any other countries.
Please. సార్ నమస్కారం సార్. ఇప్పుడు మీరు డెఫినెట్గా మాది ప్రజాస్వామ్య దేశం, ప్రజలందరూ ఎన్నుకుంటారు ప్రజాప్రతినిధులని. అయితే ఇక్కడ ఏమైంది సార్, ఇప్పుడు ఒక మనం కాన్స్టల్ ఎగ్జామ్ రాయాలనుకుంటే 10th పాస్ అవ్వాలని ఉంటుంది. కానీ రాజకీయ నాయకులు కనీసం మినిమం ఎడ్యుకేషన్ లేకుండా ఏమైందంటే క్రిమినల్స్ వస్తున్నారు సార్. పోటీ చేసినప్పుడు నాకు ఒక కేసు లేకుండా సార్. కానీ అక్కడ ఎలక్షన్ కమిషన్ అక్కడికి వెళ్ళినప్పుడు నేను వేస్తున్నప్పుడు నామినేషన్ చేసినప్పుడు ఒక ఆయన 32 కేసులు ఉన్నాయి సార్. ఆయన గెలిచేవాడు నీకు గెలవలేదు. అయితే క్వాలిఫికేషన్ అయిపోయింది, కేసులు ఉంటారు. క్రిమినల్ కేసులు లేకుండా మనం ఏంటంటే ఇప్పుడు మీరు అన్నట్టుగా చట్టాలు మళ్ళీ ప్రజాప్రతినిధులు పాస్ అయ్యాలి పార్లమెంట్ నుంచి, కానీ మనం ప్రజలు ఏమైనా చేయగలమా? అంటే క్రిమినల్స్ రాజకీయాలు రాకుండా అంటే కనీసం మినిమం ఎడ్యుకేషన్ ఉండాలని చెప్పేసి చట్టం రాజ్యాంగ చేసే పరిస్థితి ఉందా కొంచెం చెప్పండి.
రెండు డిఫరెంట్ ఇష్యూస్, కన్ఫ్యూజింగ్ ఇష్యూస్. ఇందాకే చెప్పారు, in a democratic society, even a voter has to have a minimum level of literacy and understanding. So I cannot argue against literacy. What I am arguing is, in India, the so-called qualifications are bogus. Therefore, you are getting confused. You are thinking that if there is a degree, the fellow will be a better politician. I am saying it's not true. I am not arguing that the illiterate buffoon or ignorant fellow can be a leader. That's not the argument. What I am arguing is that your measures are inadequate. And therefore, people without a formal degree oftentimes are much better than fellows with PhD. So there are different ways of measuring the ability. Local government or a chance to primary level by automatically everything will come out. So don't be confused. Don't think that by saying every MLA or a sarpanch, unless you are a graduate, you cannot be a sarpanch, everything will be fantastic. I guarantee you it will be rotten. As rotten as today. So don't be confused. The second issue, criminalization. I am the one who started the campaign against criminalization in India, again before you were all born. Way back in 1999, I launched a massive campaign in the then Telugu land, Andhra Pradesh, and came out with a list of 42 candidates contesting elections, very powerful people, ministers, MPs, MLAs, with criminal record. Not one fellow could challenge my list. The only thing they said is, ఇంకా కొన్నాను వేడుకోదని చెప్పారు. కొన్ని స్టాండర్డ్స్ పెట్టారు బాబు, ఆ స్టాండర్డ్స్ ప్రకారం పేరు ఉంటే చెప్పండి, ఎవరైతే చెప్పండి. So I understand the problem. But if you don't understand the cause of the problem, what we call etiology in medicine, we will not find a solution. There are 4 questions. It's a good example. How to think. A good leader must first learn to think, not shout, not speak. Think. The first question, the fellows who you think are criminals, the society is not treating them as criminals. Have you understood that? He is personal as a hero in society. Why? Can anybody answer? Why are criminals regarded by much of society as heroes? Including in cinemas. మీరు అంతా చప్పట్లు పడతారు కదా సినిమా చేతులు మీకు మీ బాబు హీరోస్ వాడు చేసేసి సినిమాలో Why is he treated as a hero?
Because he fought for them, for their interests.
The criminal is seen by the society as the undeclared judge. In a society where there is no justice, the criminal is using rough and ready methods. In a way, he is fulfilling a need in society. He is becoming popular, powerful, and wealthy, all three. Supposing you actually ensure a system of justice, rule of law, without intervention of criminals, you have removed that pillar. You don't have it. You have third-rate system of rule of law. Question 2. So that this fellow became powerful, wealthy, popular. Why should we get into politics? The moment he enters politics, no. Our friend others criticize them. You are a criminal, you have a criminal record. Why should you enter politics? Why are they in politics? Why do criminals want to be in politics? Anybody?
For the power. For the power.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Criminal ordinary should be afraid of the justice system and law enforcement. Whereas in India, the moment a criminal enters politics, the law enforcement is afraid of the criminal. Because their future is entirely controlled by the politician. The police inspector or the SP, their transfer, their postings, where affairs should register, everything is controlled by the political process. Because there is no rule of law in India. So it makes good sense for a criminal to enter politics. In America, a criminal enters politics, he cannot survive. In India, he thrives because he controls crime investigation. So how do you isolate crime investigation from political vagaries? Then question 3, why do political parties nominate? All parties are not bad, all leaders are not crooks. Because Narendra Modi or Manmohan Singh or Sonia Gandhi or KCR, they are not evil people. You may think they are evil. It's not true. Why do they nominate them? Because criminal brings money, organization, and almost every criminal entered politics use either caste or religion as an identity. Once you have these three, money, organization, and caste or religious leadership, you have greater chances of winning elections in India than others. So you are a very good candidate. So the politician, recruiting him as a candidate, he has no choice. He has to win the election. 4, why are people voting for him? Because everything else is equal. Both leaders are equally popular, but a criminal leader is more likely to be elected. Why?
Fear.
Spending more money, sir.
No. If the regime everybody spends equally.
Of course, the fears of atrocities that would come in future.
In a system where nothing gets done, a wooden, inflexible system with poor delivery, చాలా మర్యాదగా పద్ధతి ప్రకారం మనం ఫైట్ చేస్తే వాడు మాట్లాడు వాడు పోయి పనులు ఉంటాడు కొత్త పనులు అట్లీస్ట్ దర్ ఇస్ పర్సెప్షన్. How do you ensure delivery without taking recourse to the extraordinary measures? These are the 4 challenges. మనం ఆ challenges address చేయకుండా we are looking at the symptoms. లోపల క్యాన్సర్ ఉంటే పైన అవుట్ సైడ్ you may only get an ulcer or you may get pain. But pain medication will not cure cancer. Ulcer bandage will not cure cancer. You must understand the causality. I gave you 4 questions, 4 causes and 4 remedies. Address these 4, I guarantee you. I absolutely guarantee you there will be no criminalization. What is a symptom? You are confusing it for a disease. A symptom is not a disease. I fought against criminalization. I am the one ultimately who led to the disclosure of candidate details in the country. When the government failed to, on the basis of Supreme Court order, I led the country at that time to fight the government and got that misclearance. But all this I know is not a solution. Because we need a tool in the hands of people to raise their voice. I used it, but that's not the answer. The answer lies in these 4 things I mentioned. So, making the system work is very complex. Look at your family. It's a family. You love each other. Jesus and share justice. There's a lot of sacrifice. Still, we keep fighting so much. In your family, every day, everything is harmonious? In my family, it is not, I can tell you. In a family, it is so hard to maintain harmony. Millions of people who do not know each other from different backgrounds, different means. You think it's so easy to make it work? You must think through it so carefully. You must design institutions and instruments very carefully. It's not short and chana, slow and yevo. Much deeper reflection is required. A lot more of thought, a lot more of patience. Not only patience. Think. Think before you say something, before you act. That's the hallmark of great leadership.
నమస్కారం సార్. మన ఇండియా మన కంట్రీలో చూసుకుంటే ఎక్కువ బీపీఎల్ ఫ్యామిలీస్ ఎక్కువ ఉంటాయి, బిలో పోవర్టీ లైన్, మిడిల్ క్లాస్ ఫ్యామిలీస్ ఎక్కువ ఉంటాయి. ఒక చిన్న ఫ్యామిలీలో ఒక సన్ ఆర్ డాటర్ ఆడుకునే వస్తువులు కావాలన్నా, ఒక క్రికెట్ బాల్ ఒకటి కొనుక్కోవాలన్నా, ఇండియన్ బ్రాండ్ కొనుక్కోవాలంటే ఇట్ కాస్ట్ అరౌండ్ 100 to 200. అదే ఒక చైనీస్దో, ఒక జపాన్దో, వేరే కంట్రీ గుడ్ కొనుక్కోవాలనుకుంటే ఇట్ విల్ బి లెస్ కాస్ట్, ఒక మినిమం కాస్ట్లో వచ్చేస్తుంది. సో he will not prefer for buying our Indian brand. He always prefer for buying only other country products. So అంటే మన ఇండియాలో రిసోర్సెస్ లేవా? ఉన్నాయి కాబట్టి 270 years బ్యాక్ బ్రిటిష్ ఈస్ట్ ఇండియా కంపెనీతో మన ఇండియాకి వచ్చింది, మనం రూల్ చేసింది, మన ఇండియాలో రిసోర్స్ యూస్ చేసుకుంది. సో క్వాలిటీ ఐ డోంట్ అగ్రీ దట్ క్వాలిటీ మ్యాటర్స్. క్వాలిటీ విల్ డెఫినెట్లీ కాస్ట్. కానీ ఈ క్వాలిటీ పేరుతో వెళ్తా ఉంటే ఆల్వేస్ ఇండియా షుడ్ import all the goods from foreign countries. So how far it is treated, sir?
That's a good question. See, for a nation to go up the value chain and improve the quality, it doesn't happen overnight. You know, Japan, around the Second World War and before that, regarded as inferior goods, although Japanese goods are substandard. Germany was the standard. Our generation. My parents never said that Japan was the standard. Because slowly Japan went up the value chain. China was substandard. Slowly China is now picking up. It's not at Japanese and German level, but in many areas it's equal to Japan and Germany already. So you go up the value chain. A nation must work at it. Education and skills of the children, the quality of education matters. Technology, competition, some amount of temporary protection. I'm not in favor of protection in the general sense forever. But if all else is equal, I would like to buy something Indian. After all, it's about my employment. The kids in my country must get employment. Governments could have protected. I am in support of some tariff protection for some time, provided you are encouraging the system to go and meet the global standards. Agriculture level, I am the one who persuaded the government to impose tariffs on cooking oil, for instance. But this is a Ukraine war. But single-handedly for years I fought and got price for cooking oil. But it cannot be permanent protection. Slowly we must improve the competitiveness and quality, and finally be equal to them. To that extent, requirement of protection is there. And as a people also, as far as practicable, my advice to you is, if something is roughly equal by India, that means you are giving employment to all countries. Don't have this Firangi obsession. That's not, because ultimately you are exporting employment. In a country which is desperately in need of employment, you are exporting employment. So, and I think the governments are trying that. Toys, for instance, we are now better than we were 5 years ago. Where no manufacturing in the country, there is some encouragement, etc. So a lot more needs to be done. Because they entered earlier. మనం చాలా లేట్గా వచ్చాం, మూర్ఖులమే. Our policy framework is terrible, very stupid. Overnight make a fantastic amount. You will commit mistakes, you will substandard quality initially, but you will pick up the technology and skills and you will upgrade. You must use those time. Because we entered the market very late, because our economic management has been terrible, because we are always substituting left and right rather than what is good for our people, for employment, for incomes. We got confused.
Sir, my name is
Next question. Yeah, there please. Start.
Good afternoon, sir. My name is Keith Priya. Sir,
నార్మల్గా గవర్నమెంట్ ఇప్పుడు కేజీ టు పీజీ అని చెప్పేసి ఎడ్యుకేషన్ ఇస్తుంది, బట్ మోస్ట్ ఆఫ్ ద ఎగ్జామ్స్ ఆర్ బేస్డ్ ఆన్ 10th క్లాస్. సో వీ కెన్ సే దట్ ఎ స్టూడెంట్ ఈస్ లిటరేటెడ్ బై ది 10th క్లాస్. తర్వాత ఎగ్జామ్స్ అన్ని గవర్నమెంట్ ఇచ్చింది, ఒకవేళ వాళ్ళు చదువుకోలేకపోతే గవర్నమెంట్ చదివిస్తుంది. బట్ అట్ లాస్ట్ ఎంప్లాయ్మెంట్ వచ్చేసరికి మళ్ళీ రిజర్వేషన్ అనే వర్డ్ తోటి మళ్ళీ సపరేట్ చేస్తున్నారు. I want to get clarify if I am in correct thought or not. Why they are giving a reservation thought to the employment when they are giving an equal education to the all and each student? In this process, one is getting benefit, but maybe other get
He took your question.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
మీ అందరికి రిజర్వేషన్లు కావాలా వద్దా అని అడిగారు అనుకోండి, కావాలనే వాళ్ళలో 95% of those would benefit from reservations.
Yes, sir.
Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
వద్దనే వాళ్ళు 95% of the people who do not benefit from reservation. Yes or no? So it's not about logic. These are what are called zero-sum issues. There is a cake here. All of us want to eat cake. Even people like me, at my age, I should not eat stupidly, but we eat stupidly sometimes. If I eat more, you get less. You eat more, I get less. So it's a very exciting, very emotional issue, reservation. Think a little more calmly. At the time of constitution making, India, for the first time in human history, decided that everybody, across all castes, religions, regions, languages, and gender, shall get the vote. We are the first country to do that. It was an extraordinarily courageous experiment. Unbelievable. Today we think it's normal. It's not normal. America got its Declaration of Independence in 1776, Constitution in 1787, the first government elected in 1788-89. Only in 1920 women got the right to vote. Only in 1865 the black people were treated as human beings. Still they did not get real rights. It took until 1965 civil rights movement for them to get the right to vote. Britain had 500 years of history. Actually maybe 800 years, 1215 it started, Magna Carta. 1928, Britain gave women the right to vote. Whereas in India, across the caste and other divides, we gave the right to vote. But how do you actually bring people together when there's so much of oppression, caste discrimination, centuries of hardship? If you say, don't worry, you trust us, it's not enough basis. Therefore, our Constituent Assembly decided that we must have a gesture, powerful enough, genuine enough to show that, look, we understand the pain of your suffering. We will set it right. It will take time. Meanwhile, to prove our credentials, we guarantee certain reservation on grounds of birth, discrimination by birth. That's why they said 10 years. Another 15, it was meant to be transient. What was the idea? That within those 10 years, the point you raised here, that everybody will get quality education, at least 10 years, 12 years of quality education, not bogus education, real education, to fulfill your potential, so that whatever nature endowed you with, that can come to the surface. That was the expectation. What did our idiots do? They failed in education spectacularly. This is bogus education, this KG to PG. They perpetuated reservations. They created tussle between communities and caste for reservation. This caste wants, that caste wants. And they used everybody for voting purposes, but they never improved the quality of the mind. What is the net result? The segments that are benefiting, that are getting the reservation, they don't feel that they are really getting any benefit. You ask any Dalit, any backward communities, they don't feel that they are getting a fair deal. Because without quality school education, reservation is a bogus solution. The people who are not getting reservation, they feel they are cheated. See, I am meritorious. That fellow took it. Actually, as I mentioned before, our examinations do not at all measure merit. But anyway, he got 82, I got 85, 85 is better than 82. So both sections feel very aggrieved. It takes genius to make everybody feel angry. Our politicians have that genius, without actually doing what is right. So now, what do we do? For some more time, we need reservation, otherwise there will be complete social breakdown. But that's not a solution. If 75 years reservation did not work, then that itself is not a solution. Therefore, the most important solution is the whole nation must make it as a war to improve the quality of school education. 10 years of education of highest quality accessible to every single child, irrespective of birth. Once you feel confident that my child, irrespective of my poverty, my literacy, and my money, my opportunity, can compete with anybody's child. If she is bright, nature gave her that ability, and if she is willing to work hard, her potential is fulfilled. If I have the confidence, then who cares for reservation? Then slowly we can figure out what to do with reservation. The second element is now in the name of reservation, who are getting the benefit, most benefit? If I am a district collector, my child gets the best benefit. If I am a minister or MLA or MP, my child gets the best benefit. If I am a top-notch doctor who benefits from reservation, my child gets the best benefit. The really poor children whose parents don't have that advantage, those children are not getting the benefit because of substandard school education again. So can we at least apply it by saying, look, once you reach a certain status, you please take care of your children. Let this benefit go to the genuinely poor. In the reserved communities, if these two things are done honestly and fairly, then over a few years' time, reservation becomes an irrelevant issue. Fighting now to have reservation or not to have reservations to me is meaningless because with or without reservation, your education is bogus. With or without reservation, government employees in the most part are useless. Let me be blunt. So think a little deeper. It could be, you see, all of us were products of accidents. You could have been born in some other community. You could have known some other language, some other religion. Has any one of us chosen to be in a particular caste, in a particular region, in a particular family? No. And if you have chosen, if you have a choice before birth, you have chosen where you are born today. Right? All of you would want to be children of Bill Gates. What's wrong with that? So these are accidents. The accident in the womb should not determine the future of a child. That must be the basic norm in a society. The accident in the womb should not determine the future of a child. That is what a government should be doing. And the tools for that are education, healthcare, and economic growth, and therefore job opportunities. Everything else is bogus. Focus on them. The other things will be dissipated. They become irrelevant. In India, we failed in them spectacularly. We take great delight in creating schism between people. Marathas want reservation. Arey bhai, Shivaji Maharaj was Maratha. Patels want reservation. Arey bhai, Sardar Patel was a Patel. Kapus want reservation. Arey bhai, Kapil Dharmarao and some great people were Kapus. Brahmins want reservation. Arey bhai, Brahmins dominated throughout history. No, there is not a fellow who doesn't want reservation in India. The answer does not lie there. The answer lies in guaranteeing quality education to every single child by birth, no matter where you are born. And it's possible. Most societies are doing it. I'm not asking for anything impossible. China is doing it. America is doing it. Britain is doing it. Japan is doing it. Germany is doing it. Singapore is doing it. Many other countries are doing it. Why can't we do it? Why should we be second from bottom? I'm not saying be the top. At least be in the top 10, top 20. Ensure that every child average outcome is pretty good, decent one. So instead of focusing on what needs to be done, it's easy for us to fight your caste should get it or my caste should get it. Dr. Chennareddy, in whose name this institution was named, when there was a big agitation, Mandal Commission, he said if the people know what is actually recommended by the Mandal Commission, those who are fighting for reservation will say, we don't want it. Those who are opposing reservation will say, we want it. Because Mandal Commission said, Kapus are included. Kammas are included. Reddis are included. Many people don't know that. The Mandal Commission's idea is if you are not twice born, all other fellows are Sudras. Therefore, they are all backward classes. They must get that in the basic philosophy of Mandal Commission. And we are fighting without understanding what is what. Linga is not reservation in Karnataka, right? Vokaligas, why are they behind them? Why should they not want it? So no, we made a mockery of it. Real issues are not that. Think deeper. Please be a part of the solution. This is my last appeal to you, unless you have a few more questions. You may not be a part of the solution always, but never be a part of the problem. Think deeper. Because you are given the gift of thinking. There is nothing more important than thinking rationally, logically, based on evidence, logic, and best practices. Most of us are given up thinking. Our brains are simply not there, they were rotten. That's the way our discourse and education are. And without any thinking, without any understanding, we have very strong views, very voluble views, very emotional views. And we fight. The fool fighting the fool. That doesn't help. We require wise people interacting. We require wisdom. We require thinking. We are the most powerful tool of thinking and global experience and exposure. Use it wisely. Okay?
Sir, my name is Nagesh D. Sir, here, my name is Nagesh D. I have a very innocent question. Bada masoom sa sawal hai. What does Gandhi means to you?
Gandhi to me is not a half-naked fakir. That is symbolic. Real Gandhi is about an extraordinary thing. Gandhiji never accepted status quo. He never allowed that to become a conflict and violence. He always found a way of agreeable tension. It's not status quo, it's not conflict. There's always creative tension to solve a problem. If there's one genius in Mahatma Gandhi, it is this. And that's what democracy is about. How do you figure out a way of unease at the status quo which is wrong without creating violence and hatred? Gandhiji, probably in all modern history, not only in India, but all of humanity, was the man who came closest to the thought, word, and deed fusing. Sometimes he was wrong. Not every time was Gandhiji wrong. Gandhiji right. There were times when I publicly repeatedly say Mahatma Gandhi was wrong on that particular occasion. I stand by that even today. That's immaterial, but in his case, the thought, word, and deed were fused. He was the closest approximation to a saint, perhaps in the past few hundred years in the world itself. And Gandhiji taught one extraordinary thing, that you don't need violence for fundamental transformation. He may have gone too far. For instance, he said, even Hitler, you don't fight him, you simply surrender. I don't agree with that. But basically, the notion that you don't need violence for change, you can arouse the consciousness of people. It was such an extraordinary lesson. It was never before understood in human history. And finally, without Gandhiji, we would have got freedom. I don't think Gandhi gave us freedom. British would have left anyway. But without Gandhiji, there would not have been a nation. There's no way, north, south, east, west, Hindu, Muslim, so many languages, cultures could have come, all castes could have come together as a nation. It was his genius that brought us together. So people who attack Gandhiji without knowing anything, half-baked, ignorant, oftentimes stupid.
Sir. See, we need to be.
Madam, last question.
Madam, please.
Madam,
please.
Okay, he's telling.
Please
Give
consider.
girls a chance.
Please
Yeah.
consider.
Okay.
Good afternoon, sir. I'm very happy to see you here, sir. My name is Janvi. I'm from Karimnagar. Sir, మీరు అన్నట్టు గాంధీ గారు ఒక రోజున చెప్పారు ఏంటంటే ఏ రోజైతే ఏ అర్ధరాత్రి ఆడపిల్ల రోడ్డు మీద తిరగచ్చు ఆ రోజు మనకు నిజమైన స్వాతంత్రం వచ్చింది అని. అలాంటి స్వాతంత్రం ఇప్పుడు మన దేశంలో ఉందని మీరు అనుకుంటున్నారా? సో దట్స్ మై క్వశ్చన్.
Jahna Vedama?
Yes.
Your question is self-evident. But the issue is a little deeper. First of all, మరీ అధ్వానం అని అనుకోవద్దు. మనకేంటి ఇండియాలో మనం చాలా ఇమోషనల్ పీపుల్. అందులో ఆడపిల్ల విషయానికి వస్తే చాలా ఇమోషనల్ అవుతాం. యూ మస్ట్ హ్యావ్ వెరీ ప్రాగ్మాటిక్ అప్రోచ్. ఎందుకు ఈ మాట మనకు మనమే ఉన్నదాన్ని ఎక్కువ చేసి ఎమోషనల్ రియాక్ట్ అయ్యేసరికి I watched in the past few years, at least on 2 occasions, half-an-hour shows on BBC and CNN saying India is the rape capital of the world, which is absolute nonsense. If you have any statistical understanding, they are talking rubbish. And BBC is a channel which I like a great deal. A lot of my ideas as a youngster were shaped by BBC. In those days, I was appalled. So first, I want you to have a robust look at the data. Overreacting, over-sensationalizing is not going to solve the problems. I can give you the data. There is no time to go into that. Therefore, I never say a word without a deep study. Without evidence and logic, I never utter a word in my life. So when I say this, you can take it for granted. But there is a problem. What is happening is, Indian society has been by and large safe, by and large free from crime, relatively peaceful, despite mass poverty. We are the safest society in a poor country. Why? The tradition, the power of tradition. ఏమనుకుంటారు నేను తప్పు చేస్తే మా నాన్న ఏమనుకుంటాడు ఇంట్లో, మా అమ్మ ఏమనుకుంటుంటారు, నాకు తెలిసిన వాళ్ళు ఏమనుకుంటారు, లేకపోతే దైవభక్తి పాపభక్తి, doesn't matter which faith it is. Most Indians are God-fearing. So there is a notion that there is a God. There is something that we cannot do. The seculating behavior. There is a sense of dharma, righteousness beyond religion. We do stupid things. We have prejudices on caste, on religion, on region, everything. But from the median, we go up to a point, but don't go beyond that. There is an internal compass because for centuries we coexisted. Multitudes coexisted with different philosophies and backgrounds. We realize pragmatically to be able to coexist, you can't go to extremes. It doesn't mean we do always right things. We stray, but the straying stops at a certain point. Immediately society says no, this far and no further. All these held us. But with urbanization, people have become more and more impersonal. The traditional controls, they are becoming weaker. And as more and more young people, their ambitions are not fulfilled because of poor education, low level of skills. Therefore, your desire to have a wonderful life and the reality, there is a gulf. Therefore, there is a lot of wantonness and violent spirit. So we are seeing crime, and particularly crime against women, because we have still not given up the notion that girls could be as good or better than boys. Because mentally, and that's the parents' fault. Our girls are raised very well, our boys are raised very badly. I'm sorry, boys may take offense. But this is truthful. Go to any college, go to any university, girls are consistently doing better in this country. We are doing something wrong in raising our boys. We are not raising them in a modern way. And many boys are not able to take this also well. There is that. So unless we address these, a very quick justice, you don't have to always have very severe punishments. You should not wait for a major incident like Nirbhaya or Disha or something to happen. That is the last phase. The day-to-day violence and oppression of women. I'm sure the girls here, they will tell you privately how every day they're exposed to 100 small assaults in a bus, in an office, in a college, in a hospital, in a marketplace. Unwanted attention, reckless comments, touching without permission, and so on and so forth. They somehow learn to deal with that. Supposing, even at that stage, you impose a small punishment, I'm not saying big punishment. Quickly, within a day or two, there's a mechanism to identify the fellow and say, 1,000 rupee fine. And a probation for 3 years, and if once more in these 3 years, even minor offense happens, your education goes and your employability goes. Put that fear. And we must start raising our children better, particularly our male children better. And society must have more pragmatic approach in dealing with men's freedom. Even I, as a parent, I must tell you, even I am guilty. When my son goes out, even if he comes late, I am not really bothered. Because I am a caring father like every father, I am worried when my daughter goes out, I say, no, please don't come in a taxi. If necessary, I'll come there, I'll pick you up. I am worried. I understand. But we must also figure out ways of a healthy interaction while keeping our girls safe without imprisoning them. We have not yet evolved those mechanisms. We are struggling. So don't ever believe that in India there is terrible crime against women. Even one crime is bad, excessive. But we are roughly on par, actually much lower than the rest of the world. But because of our own sense of exaggeration in our mind, we are magnifying the problem without finding a solution. That's not a good way. And net result is we are imprisoning our girls. What we want is freedom, economic opportunity on par with everybody else, and safety. Not safety at any cost, no economic opportunity, no freedom. Then that's an even greater imprisonment of people, enslavement of people. It's a very complex issue. So think a little more deeply. I believe that early prevention of small offences will create a climate where bigger violence against women becomes much less acceptable. And in every society there are always some heinous offences, we must be ruthless in dealing with them. But that's not the first point of departure. Am I making, for my girl children, the girls in our families, in our society, the society safe with equitable opportunity and freedom? Safety, opportunity, freedom must go together. We must build institutions for that. It's not easy. And even I am struggling every day as a parent. But we have to go through that process.
Please. Yeah.
Sir, good morning.
The last question.
Good morning, sir. My name is Akanksha Maharoja. I'm from Kakatiya University, Warangal. ప్రతి క్వశ్చన్కి ఆన్సర్ తెలుసుకోవాలని ఎంత ఎంతూజియాజం ఉంటుందో నాకు కూడా ప్రతి క్వశ్చన్కి ఆన్సర్ తెలుసుకోవాలని అంతే ఉంటుంది. ప్రతి ఒక్కరికి అదే ఉంటుంది, కానీ నాకు నిద్ర కూడా పట్టదు ఒక క్వశ్చన్కి ఆన్సర్. ఒక 3 months నుంచి ఒక క్వశ్చన్ ఉంది సార్. పాలిటిక్స్ అనేటివి సర్వీసా లేకపోతే జాబా? సర్వీస్ అని చెప్తే శాలరీ తీసుకోవద్దు, కేస్ జాబ్ అని చెప్తే క్వాలిఫికేషన్ లేదు. సో నాకు ఇప్పటికీ చాలా వెబ్సైట్స్ కూడా చూసాను సార్, నాకు ఎక్కడ క్లియర్గా ఇన్ఫర్మేషన్ లేదు. సో కొంచెం క్లారిటీ ఇవ్వండి సార్. థ్యాంక్ యూ సార్.
Let me give you one real life example. మొట్టమొదటిసారి దేశం నుంచి బయటకు వెళ్ళింది నెదర్లాండ్స్, హాలండ్ ఉంది. When I was in the cooperative bank as MD, I went there to study a bank called Rabobank, Netherlands, one of the world's finest cooperative banks. What was the experience here? Even in a primary cooperative society where there is no money, thousands of members, all bogus members, 11 రూపాయలు పెడితే మెంబర్గా చేసేస్తూ ఉంటారు. They're enrolled and then they line up like in a general election, massive campaign, distribution of money, and some fellows get elected and then camps to get a majority. This is our habit. Rabobank Netherlands was the world's finest cooperative bank. At that time, now it's no longer true, but at that time when I went there, Rabobank was only the 3rd biggest bank in Netherlands at that time, but Rabobank's deposits were bigger than all the scheduled banks of India put together. All the banks of India put together, take the total deposits at that time. Rabobank Netherlands had more deposits than that. It was much bigger than all of our banks put together at that time. Now it's not true, as I said. Because in the last 30 years, India changed a great deal. Ultimately, size matters, and growth matters. And it will change even more. That's the background. What I found shocking was, they had 270 or 280 primary societies. They don't have thousands like ours with zero money and all jokes. They're serious bodies with lots of money, members' money. Whenever there is a vacancy in the presidentship of a local cooperative bank, you have to go and beg Swati, you know, you're a very competent lady, you have ability, you have talent, Please give time, please become president. What he says, no, I'm very busy with my family, with my business. I can't afford this time and energy. Or if you're elderly, say, no, I want to retire peacefully. I don't have time. And people say, no, I'll also help you. Please accept this. I was stunned. Here, fellows who know nothing about banking or money management or any ability, you all are desperate to become presidents of these banks, not knowing what to do. And in useless organizations, there's nothing also there, there's no money also. And then in the most powerful institutions, you have to beg the talented you. And even more surprising thing happened. Their Apex Bank, that big bank which was bigger than all the banks of India put together, they had a 24 or so member governing board. And they had a chairman. In Rubber Bank, Netherlands, once you become a chairman, you are nominally chairman for life. The right person is chosen, and unless the person retires or dies. So 20, 30 years you continue as the leader. When I went around that time, there was a vacancy of the chairman. I don't remember why. The chairman died or retired because of old age. I don't recall that detail, but there was a vacancy of the chairman. Out of the 24 governing members, 23 in outside politics belonged to the ruling combine at that time, ruling coalition. One belonged to the opposition. Nothing to do with the bank, but I'm talking of politics in the country. You know who was elected as the chairman of the bank? The lone opposition man was unanimously elected by all the members as the chairman of the bank. I was shocked. I was stunned. It was mind-blowing. I asked them, why did you do that? They said, look, on political and ideological matters, we don't agree with him. Our fight is uncompromising. We will defeat him. But in management of the bank, management of our money, understanding the future of the economy and the financial sector, he is absolutely the best. Our money and our future are totally safe with him. And therefore we made him the chairman. So unless you have that notion of politics, political power for a sensitive person is a huge burden. Instead of giving time to yourself and your family, you give time for the collective good as a responsibility. Whereas in India, there is so much of a lust for power because we are all insecure human beings in this country. We are desperate for some recognition. The other day I was in a remote village in Karnataka. I think I told you the story. One sarpanch, in a very backward, poor village, he came to me and said, he needed some help. Family, son needed to settle down. He needed some 1 lakh, 1.5 lakh rupees help. I asked him, you got elected only a few months ago as a sarpanch. This is a very poor and backward village. There is no money also. How much did you spend to become a sarpanch? He said, sir, 10 lakh rupees. I said, you wanted 1 lakh rupees to settle your son. You don't have it. Why did you spend 10 lakh rupees for this stupid job? He put his hands and he said, Unmadam, sir, Unmadam. You understand what is Unmadam? Madness. And he was absolutely right. In our country, there is this Unmadam. You don't even know what they are seeking. Recognition, power, respect, samman, something will happen. Something will happen. The desire to be recognized and to control. There is no understanding. He has no clue about what a sarpanch does, why he does it. And he has no means. So unless we understand that this is a serious responsibility, ordinarily I don't want to bear that responsibility because I'm giving away a lot of my time and energy from things which I love more. That is how sensitive societies, mature societies deal with power. Whereas in our country, we are insecure. I am very proud of our country. Even today I mentioned to you some wonderful things about the country. But there are some rotten things also in our country. One of the rotten things is this desperate insecurity. And therefore the desperate need for recognition without deserving it. And that's why there's so much of intense competition to become an MLA. Which idiot in which other country would want to become a state level legislator spending 40 crores? Does it make any sense? It's insane. It's not even for corruption, because with 40 crores you can make more money outside without any hassle. It is insane. You want to be recognized. For them it's a matter of life or death. Once he's in position, His body language is like this. He loses the seat or the election, he becomes very insecure. Is the fellow recognizing me, respecting me? Such buffoons. People with dignity and self-respect don't require a formal position of power for dignity. You must be able to hold your own with the Prime Minister or the Chief Minister. That is true hallmark of dignity. These fellows don't have that inner dignity. So this is the problem with our society. So it's more than selfishness or corruption. It's not even corruption. The poor serpents there, what is the corruption you can really know? But it is their sense of self-actualization. This is one of our terrible qualities as a country. This desperation, without even knowing what it is about. Okay, some of the things I said are unusual perspectives, but trust me, just think about them. And see your own experience in life. Each of us has an experience. I don't have any personal experiences these days. It's only your experience or the experience I had earlier. So you all have as much knowledge as I, but think deeply. Go a little deeper than the superficial discussion. You will find solution to many of our problems. But having said all this, as I said, I'm a great optimist because there are many things going in our favor. When politics is getting messed up, and I hope that in the next few years we will make it better. But many things outside politics are becoming better and better. Technology, global communications, and barriers of trade being removed, exposure to the rest of the world, and the desire of each family to make something better for themselves. The innovation, the entrepreneurship, risk-taking capacity. Somehow these are propelling us. We have an opportunity. So don't despair. If something is going wrong somewhere, look at other things that are going right to compensate and then see how to set these bad things right. Don't become wailers and complainers. Become problem solvers. Figure out the solution. Sometimes the solutions take longer than they should. That's the way humanity is. Humanity collectively is not very smart. We're very stupid, like any other animal. But we have one redeeming feature. And that is, over time we realize what is in our best interest collectively. Therefore, even if initially we reject it, eventually we embrace it. And that's why humanity always gets better. But sometimes slowly. 30 years ago, 40 years ago, things were infinitely worse, trust me. Politics has become worse than then, that's true. But many other things were terrible at that time. We could not have had this meeting without 25 power interruptions. There was no way a telephone was available. There was no internet, there was no computer. Life is a whole lot better today. So don't ever think the world is getting terrible. Satyana Shora, so no, not true at all. Yes, a lot more needs to be done. Yes, we can do a lot better. Yes, we can do a lot faster. That's all true. But it's not true that the past was better. That's a very stupid, uninformed notion. Be optimistic. You live in a fantastic age. You are lucky. Wherever you are, this generation, you are in a fantastic age. I'm saying this, seeing all the rot around. Look at Middle East today, your heart goes out. Needless, innocent blood is shed on both sides. Doesn't matter who is right, who is wrong. So it's not that everything is nice, but it was much worse 100 years ago, trust me. Infinitely worse. We can make it a lot better. We have the privilege, we have the opportunity, we have the tools, we have the resources, we have the technology. And ultimately, public space is about that. Can we make it better? Not can I conquer. Not can I be the boss. It doesn't matter who is the boss. What matters is, are we a part of the change for the better? Or are we perpetuating status quo or making things worse? I'm sure all of you will make a huge contribution to the country's future and the world's future. After all, the world is not different from our country. While we should be patriotic about the country, I don't think exclusive patriotism at the cost of the world is a very smart thing. It's both. We have to coexist. I wish you all the very best. Good luck to you and congratulations to Swati.
I don't think post former Vice President Venkata, any other sessions would have been this meaningful. because, as I earlier mentioned, understanding the practicality, but still trying to bring ethical practices is what Citizen India is aiming at, creating young parliamentarians like you. I'm happy even if 1 or 2% in this whole exercise across the country tomorrow enters the parliament in whichever party you want to get into, whichever ideology you belong to. I don't know. I'm not a supporter of any ideology. But every word that he mentioned, every answer that he addressed is a policy in itself. So probably the insights that he explained, the insights that he shared will definitely change the way you think, change the way you look at things around you, change the way that probably 10 years down the line, 8 years down the line, 15 years down the line, when a few people here assume chairs. So will think in his shoes is what probably I personally think, and maybe we are very optimistic in the same way. Thank you so much. I don't think this could have been, I could have asked for anything more in this 3-day session of the Citizen Youth Parliament Telangana elections. And I request Valishwar Garu, a very senior journalist, to please come over the stage and show a small tribute to JP Garu. Small token of gratitude from our end, sir. Please accept it.
All the best.
I request
Parliamentarians
please provide us.
Brainstorming session, isn't it?
Very much. It is one of our experience that we wanted to meet JP sir in different platforms, and we were happy to see him. And Madam was quoting that we should also draw his wisdom. While preparing for UPSC exams, while we were aspirants for exams, we were drawing his wisdom since those days, and it is not new to us. Like being a JP is very difficult for us, but we are trying our best to do our part.
Prime Minister.
Deputy Speaker.
Kindly everyone stand up.
To move the motion for lunch.
Adjourn the room house for a lunch, ma'am, I guess.
Speaker will decide.
ఆకలి బాధతో మళ్ళీ కడుపు గాలి మాట్లాడితే
చించుకొని మాట్లాడకుంటే సార్
కొత్త సమస్యలకు దారి తీస్తారేమో.
స్పీకర్ ఏమైంది అసలు? డెప్యూటీ స్పీకర్ ఓకే కదా?
స్పీకర్ ఉన్నారు, బయట ఉన్నారు, వస్తారు.
విత్ స్పీకర్ పర్మిషన్ ఎవరైనా కళాకారులు ఉంటే ఒక పాట పాడాల్సింది కదా.
పులిగోడలో కూడా రెడీగా ఉంటారులే, కళాకారులు లేరు.
స్పీకర్ గారు బిజీగా ఉన్నారు కదా.
స్పీకర్ వచ్చి అట్లా లేవండి. ఈజ్ నాట్ ఇన్ చార్జ్.
Go to the adjourn for lunch, and the lunch will be at the same place where history.
థ్యాంక్ యూ. ఇంకా వాటి ఆన్సర్ చెప్పలేక లంచ్ 45
When the session will begin again.
30 minutes and the lunch. Sir, 1 hour is 7 దాకా పెట్టుకోరు.